Hello there everyone, welcome back to my channel Fanfiction podcast. Today we will continue our journey of what if Deku became the Kingpin of Japan's Underworld Part 8. Before we start, please like, share, subscribe, and comment in the comment section. Chapter Summary. Confirmation. Lemillion makes a horrible decision, resulting in a very awkward family reunion. A new plan is made. Mr. Compress discovers something pretty great. Chapter Notes. The last time I published the evening prior to the normal morning release, I suddenly was flooded with comments. I'm experimenting if this is how it works for real. So, take the Thursday or Friday release a bit ahead of schedule. See the end of the chapter for more. Notes. I just want to stress it once again. Legion announces. The atmosphere in the room, the living room of the League's headquarters, is tense. Lots of people are staring at each other, with complicated expressions on their faces. This is a horrible, horrible idea. You're overreacting. Lemillion promptly replies. Tsukochi doesn't believe it himself, but he is with Legion on that one. Eraserhead mumbles something nasty, probably busy, memorizing faces of the League members, especially the new ones. I most certainly am not. Legion answers and lets out a loud sigh. Do you seriously need to go plus ultra on everything, even bad decisions? His last attempt to discourage the hero from doing whatever stupidity this whole venture is goes unanswered. All right, give it to Eraserhead. The crazy tech girl approaches the Erasure hero and hands him an external hard drive. This hard drive contains the coordinates of League's headquarters and enough data about our associated businesses to sink half of the underworld, plus everything you need to locate my sister and my home. Legion informs. Truth. There are no secret mechanisms inside of it to destroy it or otherwise stop you from accessing the data if Lemillion and or Detective Tsukochi do not return from the meeting. Truth. I still think that it's a horrible idea. Truth. How did Lemillion persuade Legion to give them so much of a leverage? Tsukochi is honestly shocked by it. He asked Mirio, but Sir Nightie's student proved to walk in his mentor's footsteps. Getting anything out of him was a chore, and a useless one, since Tsukochi got nowhere with it. And we, as I said, will not access the hard drive or in any way copy its contents unless Lemillion and Tsukochi will not return. We'll then give it back to you. Eraserhead replies. Truth. I'll make sure of it. In exchange, I'd like to have 10 minutes alone with Kurogiri. I want to talk with him about something, and I will return him unharmed. Truth. Legion looks at the detective questioningly. He told the truth. Detective replies. Well then I hope that you did it as well. Legion replies. Because otherwise you'll all die. Horribly. Truth. What did Tsukochi agree to? Kurogiri. Legion says with a tired expression. Warp me, Asa, Lemillion and the detective. To my home, please. Let's get this over with. *****. The secretive residence of the Midoriyas was a small mansion in the middle of the woods. Tsukochi actually pictured the Mischief's retirement house as something slightly more humble. Then again, if she truly was a widowed wife of the All-for-One, she had enough money for this. Young lord, who is it? Tsukochi almost jumped at the sudden shout. He turned his head to face it and, wait, was that the fabled Gigantomachia? With a pink scarf, with a small girl riding on his shoulder. Guests, Machia. Legion replies. Inko invited them. What are you doing with Eri? Young lady wanted to go on a walk to a forest. Gigantomachia. Bellows. Machia helps. Wonderful. Legion says with his fingers raised. But before that, Eri, do you recognize him? He adds, while pointing towards Lemillion. The girl's eyes go wide. Lemillion. She shouts with a really wide smile. Machia, put me down. The giant does. That with a gentleness that Tsukochi didn't expect from him. The girl runs over to Mirio. I'm your fan, Lemillion. Can you please give me your autograph? Lemillion comes prepared and actually hands her a signed photo of himself after his victory. In the last sport festival, the one where he actually wears his clothes, not the accident one. The girl beams. Then Tsukochi sees the people watching them from the building's entrance. Mischief Ann. Tsukochi almost gets a heart attack. *****. The atmosphere during the dinner is the absolute definition of awkward, Lemillion decides. They are all sitting around a dinner table. All-for-One and Lemillion are on the opposite ends. To Mirio's left side is Detective Tsukochi, still absolutely white as a sheet and probably planning to murder Lemillion for not telling him what this was all about earlier, and mischief. To his right side is Legion and then the only slightly infamous rabbit. Why did All Might choose someone with a death wish to be the next holder? Lariat shouts in Mirio's head, although he doesn't hear it. I don't know. Nana Shimura shouts back. Other heroes are either panicking or praying. First holder is practically comatose with horror at this point. I told you that this was a horrible idea. Legion whispers to Lemillion. The hero shrugs. He needed confirmation that All for One wasn't a threat for the time being. All for One was at best half the usual level of threat when devoid of his organization, and it was either gone or serving Legion or overhaul. The data he received as a leverage was enough to dismantle everything ALO could potentially recruit. It should make him behave. IT most certainly will not. Black Whip Hero shouts. He is only repeating his reaction to the initial findings. After all, Mirio stated that line of reasoning multiple times. At this point, he is practically reading Lemillion's mind. The look Legion received was a familiar one. I heard a lot about your cooking, Miss Inko. Lemillion ignores Legion entirely. But it really doesn't do its justice. This is absolutely delicious. He doesn't have to lie. This is some of the tastiest food he ever got to eat. Oh, thank you. Mischief smiles. Her smile is truly heartwarming. It's nice to be appreciated. What about you, detective? Sorry. Tsukochi mumbles. I'm not feeling well. No appetite. Lemillion can understand that. He knew that the detective wouldn't agree to meet the All-for-One himself, so he had to hide that part from him. Eat your food, Tsukochi. All-for-One speaks for the first time in a while. Lemillion is flooded with dread. Something in All-for-One's voice and presence makes him tremble. Detective slumps on the chair. It lasts until they all hear a loud BAM. Stop. Embarrassing me in front of every guest, Inko. Did she just hit him in the head with a newspaper? One of the heroes, well, technically, a vigilante, in the background asks. The rest simply stares in shock and disbelief. They did hear about it from Legion, they just didn't really believe it. Then stop scaring every guest for life, Hisoshi. Inko shouts back, putting the rolled newspaper next to her plate. Do you know how rarely do we get actual guests? Here. Extremely. I like the peace and quiet, but sometimes I actually want to meet people. And you traumatizing every guest isn't helping, so you will behave or you can start moving your suit collection to the guest room. And everything else too. All-for-One looks genuinely terrified by her now. Your brother is probably on the verge of a heart attack. Legion says absent-mindedly while poking at his food. If it's even an option at this point. At least try to behave in front of him, all right. All-for-One looks at him as if he saw his son for the first time. My brother is what? He asks after a few seconds of shocked silence. You remember my one for all soul-carrying theory? Izuku replies. He looks really done with his life at this point. Lemillion confirmed it. He has every single holder freeloading in his head, including Yoichi. He even talks with them occasionally. And they are seeing you. Now. All-for-One's face turns towards Lemillion. Mirio has no idea how to describe the look on his face. Yoichi, you ungrateful son of a bitch. He finally shouts. He is absolutely furious. Stop being a problem to me even 2 centuries after your death. You're one to talk, Hisoshi. Yoichi shouts back. You're the son of the same woman, you amnesiac asshole. And your megalomaniac ass is a problem to me too. Yoichi was apparently loud or angry enough for Lemillion to hear the retort. His connection with the heroes was slowly growing stronger. Yoichi said, and I quote, You're one to talk, Hisoshi. You're the son of the same woman. You amnesiac asshole. He obediently repeats. All-for-One looks like he forgot how to breathe for a few seconds. And your megalomaniac ass is a problem to me too. Why are you provoking him, Yoichi? Lariat shouts, while Nana panics visibly. Behind him. I didn't think that Mirio would hear it. Yoichi shouts back, now visibly terrified. Why did Lemillion repeat what he heard? Does he truly have a death wish? Hisoshi. Mischief says before All-for-One has the time to shout back or activate his quirks. Do you want to live in the guest room from now until your death? And you are immortal, so it will be a while. This calms him down. Or More like, makes him reconsider what he was planning to do. Wonderful. I believe that Lemillion came here to ask you some questions. That's correct. Mirio replies. I've managed to obtain some circumstantial evidence for All for One's survival after his fight against All Might. Something flinches on All for One's face when he hears those two words. I used them to blackmail Legion into organizing this meeting. Legion claims that you have retired, are not stealing quirks anymore, and are not a threat for the time being. I have brought Detective Tsukochi with his lie-detecting quirk to confirm that your existence isn't a threat to Japan currently. Detective, could you confirm this? Detective seems to have woken up from the stupor. I guess. So, is it true that you retired? Yes, I did. All for One replies promptly. I do not keep any contact with active villains. Outside of Gigantomachia, Kurogiri, and my 2 sons, plus Izuku's wives. I'm running a legal business, but do not expect me to tell you anything about that. My only crime during the recent year or so is financing the League of Villains, and it's mostly me liquidating my old funds. This house I bought with money I earned legally. Ruth. Detective announces, obviously shocked by it himself. Silence in the hall. Once again, they did hear about it, but it was too surreal to truly and honestly believe it. Did All for One have a quirk to fool Tsukochi's? All right, so, did you steal any quirks since your fight against All Might? Tsukochi has a working brain. Finding out if All for One grew stronger in the meantime is a very good idea. I stole only 1 quirk. From Overhaul. All for One replies. However, I gave it to my son. Truth. Detective is visibly shocked by this too, although he also starts to get used to the rather shocking situation. Heroes in Mirio's head remain silent. Is there anything that can make you unretire yourself? He asks. Direct threat to either Eri or Inko. All for One replies, his face still clouded with anger. Izuku made me promise him to not unretire myself if he is killed or imprisoned, and I plan to uphold this vow. He also included Acer in this deal, since they are both villains and they know the risks. Nothing else can make me return to the old business. That is the truth. Detective announces. Wait, he actually retired. One of the dead heroes asks, finally breaking the silence. And he became a family man. Yoichi stares in silence. This is literally the last thing he expected to find out. Hisoshi was rather protective of him due to his weak health early on, so it's not like there was no precedence to this. But the ambitions and powerlust have quickly warped him, making him into an increasing control freak. And then a shadow dictator. But this, what the hell, happened to him? Did you? Detective seems to be trying to figure out how to word his next question properly. Did you retire as a part of some grander scheme? Yoichi nods. This is a very good question. His brother could certainly plan something years ahead, making even supposed mistakes and retirement merely a phase of a grand strategy. Actually, I did. All for One replies, surprising everyone. Even Legion and Mischief appear to be taken aback. I expected my son to face enough opposition and some failures for the heroes to push him back into my arms, to make him embrace my idea of evil. Then I would unretire myself, with him as my right-hand man. I abandoned this plan entirely when I heard of him wiretapping Nedzu's office, since he has proven to be able to do things that I never managed to do. He has outperformed my expectations so many times that I came to a conclusion that I'm truly too old for being an active villain and have truly, officially and without any hidden strings attached retired. He sighs. At this point I'm starting to think that he is better at being a villain than me, either way. Truth. Detective announces. He is so much beyond shocked at this point that he doesn't even look surprised anymore. Any more questions? All for One asks, with a weird mix of tiredness and anger on his face. For the current moment, no. Detective would have gladly asked some questions about his business and former villainous activities, but it's not like there is a chance for All for One to answer them. Great. All for One's tiredness vanishes in a heartbeat. So now that I heard that my beloved brother's here, I'm going to say hello to him. In person. Lemillion panics only slightly. If I try to steal your quirk, Yoichi, in its current fully developed state, I'll get to visit your little mind space. I'm looking forward to catching up with you, you ungrateful shit. Yoichi shouts. Get ready for an ATT. They missed Mischief, nodding slightly to Asa. Before All for One rose from his seat, Rabbit grabbed his hand. Dad? He asks, making All for One freeze. He looks at his son, as if him using the dad word was a surprise. Mischief quickly swipes away the plates in front of All for One, while his attention is occupied. All for One tries to speak, but he is too late. Unconscious. Asa says. All for One suddenly goes limp. His head lands on the table, where his plates used to be, with enough strength to make the whole table shake. I think, Mischief says in the resulting silence, that you shouldn't be here when he wakes up. Lemillion, Detective Tsukochi, and the 26 dead heroes agree with her wholeheartedly. Kurogiri warps them back to the alley behind a cat cafe near the UA. How did it go? Eraserhead asks them, while handing the hard drive back to the warper. The black cloud promptly disappears. If Lemillion ever breaks the law, Tsukochi announces, even something minor, like loitering, I'm doing my absolute utmost to send him to Tartarus for life. Eraserhead's brow raises. I cannot explain the reasons, but he earned it. And on your end? Lemillion asks, ignoring Detective entirely. He remembers being Shirakumo. Eraserhead sighs. Just considers himself to be Kurogiri. The rest of the league doesn't know, and he refuses to use anything he learned in his past life against anyone from the UA. In Oboro's memory, I believe. There goes their hope to influence Kurogiri in any way. Welp. Time to return to normal work, then. Lemillion summarizes. Not a word to anyone about this outing, remember. He had them promise that to him. He agrees with Legion that having all might and all for one battle it out right now would have been the end of Japan. Principal, Recovery Girl finished running DNA tests on every single UA student, comparing the samples taken with those of notable villains connected to All for One within the past 25 years. Nap needed. Is it correct to assume that we won't like the result? Principal, yes. Nap needed. Oh joy. Spying eye, how many? Principal, 6 Hero Corps students, including 2 that perished during the training camp. Attack. Small might, Garaki you bastard. All right, 6. Nap needed. Well, shit. Principal, good news is that, once again, we're probably overrepresented considering how we're the apex of hero schools together with Shiketsu and the program typically resulting in powerful quirk bearers. However, I had to raise the estimated number of Garaki's children. Principal, it's about 2 UA students per year, double it for Shiketsu and smaller hero schools, triple it for some odd villain or people who remain civilians. 6 times 22 is a large number. Principal, the kids I found are from no less than 3 different fertility clinics opened between 22 and 20 years ago. Principal, we must have missed the statistical anomaly of oddly many children from in vitro joining the hero courses during the last few years. Nap needed. Anyone I know. Principal, Eijiro Kirishima and Koji Koda from your class are Gigantamachia's sons. Yue. Kodai from Class 1B is Mr. Compress' daughter. Nap needed. Are you serious? Small might. Makes sense. Honestly, if you exclude the moral factor, this is fascinating. Principal, oh. Small might. We never had a chance to assess the results of multiple quirk bearers having children. I believe that my father thought that the children would be born crippled due to the strain of inheriting multiple quirks, or quirkless, because their bodies would have shut down that part of themselves to avoid dying. Small might. Instead, Ejiro seems to have inherited a heavily mutated variant of fierce gains. Koda seems to possess some thematic mutation based on mole and dog quirks, while Gigantamachia's son from the League has a mutated variant of charge quirk. This suggests that the quirks interfere with each other, causing heightened chance of mutation instead of direct inheritance. But there is still only a single quirk, and a powerful one, in most cases. Principal, he risked having you while thinking that the quirks would kill you. Small might, he could detect dormant quirks before their activation. If he found multiples, he would probably take them away. He missed me being a late bloomer, so we can safely assume that the late bloomer's quirks are basically not there early on and develop from scratch later. Small might, as I said, fascinating. Not exactly useful for the investigation, but fascinating. Small might, what's Yui Kodai's quirk? It's the only one I don't know from the list. Principal, she can alter sizes of things she touches. Small might, yeah, there is a thematic connection, at least, somewhat, compress quirk. Makes things smaller to a degree. Perhaps it's not multiple quirks but the in vitro that heightens the chance of mutation as well, at least for sufficiently strong quirks. No, would notice that already. So perhaps Garaki did some experimenting to make the quirks mutate in order to make the entire scheme less visible, and to not create straight copies of quirks already there. Small might, fascinating. Spying eye, now I'm really starting to see the familial similarities. Small might, sorry I just find quirks to be incredibly interesting. Tintin can, I noticed. Tintin can, I offered you an information exchange. You told me who creates Numis and in exchange you told me a lot of enlightening things about my own quirk. Small might, because your quirk is super fascinating and talking about it is my pleasure. Tintin can, right. Small might, so what are you planning to do now? Principal, this gives us a chance to catch Garaki, actually. Small might, oh. Small might, OH. Small might, this is brilliant. Small might, power loader and David shield. Principal, yep. Gremlin 2, if possible. Spying eye, I understand now. Small might, oh you brilliant mouse bear. All right, can someone explain to me what are you talking about? Nap needed, same. Principal, these 3 clinics have to have some connection with Garaki. We know he is hiding behind secure internet connections, but they can't be perfectly secure unless Gremlin or some other mad engineer set them up. Principal, if we storm all 3 of them at once, and do so quickly, quietly, and decisively, with some appropriate electronic support, we should be able to trace the connection before Garaki severs it fully. Principal, giving us the rough estimations of the location of the Garaki's hideout. Small might, and I just happen to have a highly competent strike team at the ready, with a warp quirk user that can allow us to assault the base immediately while preventing overhaul from evacuating Garaki through his own warp gate. Spying eye, looks like we finally have the breakthrough we needed. Small might, get power loader and David shield to make villain network accounts. I'll connect them with Gremlin so that they can figure out the details. Principal, great idea. All right, I have a feeling that we're going to regret letting them meet. Asterisk. Small might, Ekhem. World is a stage. Private chat. Hey. World is a stage. Well, what brought that up, my dear Legion? Small might, did you ever have medical checkups with Dr. Garaki? World is a stage. World is a stage. Wait. World is a stage. Does that question mean? World is a stage. That I have a child. Small might, and probably a small classroom of those. World is a stage. What? Small might, Nedzu estimated about 120 of Garaki's children out there, and we've already found one of the UA Hero Corps students to be your daughter. Small might, so I hope you stole a lot of money recently because child support payment is going to fucking ruin you. Clown Lord. World is a stage. Okay, stop. World is a stage. I'm seriously freaking out right now. World is a stage. Please stop kicking me where it hurts for a second. Small might. Fair. That does have to be a bit shocking, so I guess I'll be nice for once. World is a stage. Yes. World is a stage. OMFG. World is a stage. I have children. Small might. Why is that surprising? World is a stage. Because I genuinely thought that OG Harima's bloodline will die out with meh. Small might. Are you gay? World is a stage. Straight face. World is a stage. As if that could stop me in this day and age from getting a descendant. World is a stage. I'm not going to let you read my medical history, but Garaki claimed that I'm not going to have children. Like, ever. Every other doctor I contacted agreed with him. World is a stage. How the hell did he manage to do that? Small might. Absolutely no idea. World is a stage. OMG. World is a stage. Please tell me if you find even a single children of mine who is a potential thief. World is a stage. I'm going to adopt them officially and instantly, regardless of who they are and whether I have to sneak them out of Tartarus prison. World is a stage, and then I'm going to cherish them like a miracle they are. World is a stage, and we are going to steal so many valuable things together. World is a stage. IT will be glorious. Small might, actually. I might have found one already. World is a stage. Tell me immediately where can I find this marvelous mini-ME. World is a stage. That I want to shower with love until my death or lifetime incarceration. Small might. Let's just say that I'm going to be one of the two people who absolutely love Kurogiri's choice of interns. World is a stage. Wait. World is a stage. Non is my son. Small might. Yes, according to the DNA tests I had incense run on The. Kurogiri's classroom. Small might. At least that's the only other Garaki kid among them. World is a stage. OMG. World is a stage. OMG. World is a stage. OMG. World is a stage. His quirk makes him vanish just as mine makes things vanish. Small might. Yeah, a perceptive thematic mutation. Small might. Have fun with that. World is a stage. I'm going to have all the fun with that. World is a stage. My life is complete. World is a stage. Please ask Kurogiri to let me borrow non for just a second. We're still a week away from the internships and I urgently need to have him here. Small might. Fine. I can do that much, but I want to have you next to me if we manage to. Locate Garaki's stronghold. World is a stage. Me and the levelers are at your service, my most generous lord. Chapter end notes. Let's be real. Lemillion's reputation among the vestiges took months to rebuild after this day. Chapter summary. Hospital. The raid on the Jaku General Hospital happens. Some answers are found. Chapter notes. Yes, there shouldn't be an update today, but I low-key don't care. Do you know why? Because we are celebrating. Kyoto. Evil got itself a TV tropes page. Yeah. And it's longer than I expected. I have one or two things to point out that are incorrect, though, but that will be in the notes at the end. Hopefully someone from there is reading that. https://tvtropes.org/pmwiki/pmwiki.php/fanfic/cureto-evil. Warning, as already stated in Chapter 1, the fic is already fully published on FF and only reposted here. Reading the page now might give you some spoilers. For example, about the mysterious Maruko ship. That's like 3 to 4 chapters away now. See the end of the chapter for more. Notes. Tintin Can. Preparations on our side are complete. Tintin Can. We are starting the raid on the fertility clinics in 12 hours. Tintin Can. You need to attack immediately once we get you the coordinates. Small might. I know. Small might. I expect you to send heroes to the coordinates too, because we cannot be sure that this will not escalate into a regular battle. And if it's somewhere in a city, the last thing we want is to have Numas slip out. Tintin Can. We know. Tintin Can. So unless you want to get caught, you better do your best to leave the facility before we arrive. Small might. Damn it, I know Mirio. Small might. Stop reminding of The. I'm still going to arrest you bit. Every time it's even remotely important. Small might. Sheesh. Tintin Can. Well then. Tintin Can. Good luck. Small might. I'll do my best. Asterisk. There are many heroes uniquely suited towards incapacitating enemies instantly and safely. Some of them are capable of doing this to an entire crowd. Of course, doing that to an entire building, full with civilians that could or not be involved, was still a PR problem. Nedzu located 3 fertility clinics that took part in the program. First one was attacked by Ed Shut. The ninja hero flew through its corridors, incapacitating every member of its personnel with his super move. The second one had its fire alarm triggered remotely by Nedzu, allowing a handful of camouflage-oriented heroes to secretly enter it. The third one was enveloped with sleeping gas by one of the many UA-aligned heroes. Dr. Garaki failed to notice the infiltration before the heroes took control of the electronic systems of all 3 facilities. He severed the connection 20 seconds too late. Asterisk. I have the coordinates. Legion shouts. The entirety of the League is in their villain outfits, gathered together in the training room of the League's headquarters. This is no day for half measures. This is war, and they are going to win it. The black mist envelops them all. Asterisk. They emerge in the air above a hospital in the middle of some city. Jaku General Hospital. According to the letters on one of the buildings they can see, sunset floats them around on a handful of large surfaces. Something interferes with my warp quirk. Kurogiri says. It's certainly not sunset, not with the support items. It looks like they are in the right place. And perhaps they caught Overhaul's warp quirk user as well. Gremlin, scan it. Legion orders. Gremlin has gadget produced some odd-looking machine. Izuku wants to know nothing about how it works, but less than 20 seconds later his visor displays a three-dimensional map of the facility, including the small red dots signifying life signs. He can see a large underground space that most certainly shouldn't be there, and that is only available through a single shaft, probably an elevator judging from the size. We have him. Legion announces. Darby, flare it up. We're coming in hot. The flame user laughs like a psychopathic madman. The blue fire rains on the hospital, while the League of Villains flies inside on sunsets. Surface. Fire alarms ring throughout the building, with orderlies moving in to evacuate the patients. Asterisk. Shit. Garaki screams in his underground lab. Legion found him. How did that unruly and deceitful pretendant find him? He had to work with the heroes. There is no other explanation to this attack happening right after heroes raided his clinics. Did the personnel have time to purge the records? If the heroes can find those, his entire third-gen Numas program is endangered. No. 9, stop them. He shouts through the microphone. He needs time to flee from the facility, especially now that Kurogiri is here, blocking his warp. They are heading towards the morgue. Stop them now. I'm on it. He hears from the speakers. He told 9 everything he knew about the League's members. 9 is powerful. This should be enough. Dr. Garaki needs to download all the data down to a portable form and run away while 9 is distracting Legion. Asterisk. The first of the 9 crew's members to die is Romero Fujimi, former star student of Izumu Academy, on the fast track to becoming a hero. Unfortunately, the world isn't welcoming towards people with quirks perceived as villainous. All you need is one mistake, such as accidentally dispersing a zombie gas in a crowded mall during the internship, and your dream of heroics is dead. He found a new one. He dispersed his gas when he heard of 9's announcement, enveloping nearby patients and hospital staff. They began their rampage, and he pushed them towards the incoming attack group. In Romero's defense, he didn't know about the enemy's ability to track all life signs within the hospital. Legion found the single dot that didn't move, despite being within a crowd of dots moving together as a group towards the attackers. Suspicious. Zombie gas user was never the most attentive to details. He noticed Spinner only when the lizard man's gun barrel touched his head. A single pull of a trigger later, Romero's brain was splattered on the nearby wall, and his zombie crowd fell to the ground. Asterisk. The second member of the 9's crew to die was Chimera. His death was mostly due to bad positioning. 9 and his teammates were scattered around the hospital, though most of them, save for Romero, relatively close to the morgue entrance, in the more restricted part of the hospital. It also wasn't his preferred combat environment. He couldn't bulk to his full potential strength, as he would simply fail to move. The corridors were only so big. And he couldn't take the whole building down, since that would simply trap Dr. Garaki under the rubble, to be dug out by the heroes at their convenience. When he saw the League members emerge from behind the corner, he charged towards them. His job was to slow them down, and this was the perfect situation. All he needed was to gain enough momentum to ram into them and keep them there while 9 and the others were on their way. The first ones to come were an unfamiliar bulky young man with a square jaw and stain. The latter could be a problem with his quirk, but nothing that Chimera couldn't barge through. Except when he rushed into them, he felt like he hit a brick wall. His fist hit Stain right in the face. The man didn't even bother to dodge, and he just no-selled it. Like it didn't happen. What the hell? Chimera screams. Stain licks blood from his knife. Chimera didn't even notice the cut, and the villain slumps down, paralyzed. Shock nullification quirk. Stain replies, with a maniacal grin on his face. His entire body suddenly bulks up, as if there was also some strength enhancement quirk thrown in the mix. Gift from a nephew. Then he decapitates Chimera with his katana. Asterisk. Only 9, Mummy and Slice managed to gather in the morgue. What happened to Chimera? Slice asks. She is, like them all, not in the best location to use her quirk. Their quirks make them capable of decimating entire groups of heroes, but tend to excel on the open-air battle. Dead. 9 replies. Romero too. His crew is a family. They are close to each other. He can feel pain in their eyes. They will mourn for their fallen later on. 9 should have never agreed to Garaki's offer. Healing his disease wasn't worth going to bed with people like the ones that the Paranormal Liberation Front had in their ranks. But it was too late. Now he was here, and he was losing his friends one by one. Get ready. 9 says. The doors to the morgue burst open. League members leap into the room. 9's little family does its best. But in such a restricted space, their large-scale quirks are more of a problem than an asset. What's more, their knowledge about their enemy is painfully outdated, and they are outnumbered. They die one by one. *****. Overhaul. Garaki screams at him through the video communicator. You got to help me. Legion is here. He is tearing through my bodyguards and I can't have Johnny walk me out. Overhaul sighs slightly. Just what he expected from his quote-unquote ally. Izuku and the heroes has probably found him through his idiotic eugenics program. This was just a matter of time. All it took was a single father to doubt being a parent of their child and do a DNA test, and suddenly everything was on the verge of coming down. I see. Overhaul replies. Well, good luck with that. Garaki freezes. What? He finally manages to utter, after a few long seconds of silence. You outlived your usefulness. Overhaul informs him. I could save you, but why? You off. His lungs were getting worse and worse as time passed. Well, he wasn't going to need those for long. Your numas are interesting, but I now know everything about them. You off. Found your lab a while ago and had my technopath download your entire database. And you donated all finished nomas to the PLF, save for some half-finished ones you keep in your hospital. So, good luck. You traitor. Garaki shouts. Overhaul asks himself if someone who backstabbed Legion that has a moral ground to accuse others of being traitors. Then again, not like he cares. I'm going to tell the heroes everything I know. They'll find you, Anne. First of all, Izuku is going to torture you to death instead of handing you to the heroes. Overhaul replies. And I took the liberty of giving you false info about my real base. Did you ever ask yourself how, exactly did Eclipse warp in recruits from outside of Japan? What? Garaki seems to not understand what it is about. The main PLF forces, including thousands of quirkless soldiers, more than 100 of my purified, and the majority of your numas, including all 3rd gen, aren't even in Japan. Overhaul says with a faint smile hidden behind his gas mask. So feel free to scream what you know to Izuku while he tortures you to death. Overhaul laughs lightly as he severs the connection. He is sitting on a sunbed on a tropical beach. He sees a group of former QLF soldiers. Sunbathing 30 meters away from him, they finished their combat training for today, and he is letting them do that. They are healthy and pure after all. The sunlight is good for his skin, and there are only a handful of truly diseased people on the island. If his borrowed body wasn't failing him so badly, he would actually genuinely enjoy the vacations. While heroes were pursuing his useless allies and small groups of brainwashed QLF soldiers that he was spreading throughout Japan, while making them appear as his actual army, he was slowly building up his forces in safety. His army was almost ready for the next step of his plan. Japan's remaining lifespan was counted in weeks now. Dr. Garaki was still staring at the now empty screen when Legion disassembled the armored doors to his lab. His followers emerged from the darkness behind him. Garaki recognizes Stain, Kurogiri, and Mr. Compress standing right behind Izuku. And more behind them. Dr. Garaki. Legion is still wearing his ridiculous All Might hoodie, as if to add insult to injury. I told you that this day would come. He has enough time to start screaming before the pain began. Mr. Principal, I'd like to announce a major victory in our war. Mizure's ahead. Oh. Mr. Principal, we've managed to locate Dr. Garaki. Legion eliminated him, while killing and resurrecting 9 and his crew members, 4 notable A-rank villains, Necromancer, Chimera, Slice, and Mummy, whom we now successfully apprehended. They are on the way to Tartarus as we speak. I cast Fist, so we've eliminated the numas from the equation. And why did Legion of all people do that? Mr. Principal, he is the only one among the Alliance members to have access to warp quirks. We had heroes, including at Raisingen and yours truly, attack 3 fertility clinics connected to Garaki and trace the connection to him before he managed to sever them. Mr. Principal, The second phase of the plan was the League assaulting Garaki's location, before he escapes, while using Kurogiri to interfere with the warp, preventing overhauls. Warper from bringing in reinforcements. Angry Rabbit, let me guess, Jaku General Hospital. Mr. Principal, blue flames like that are a bit of a giveaway, yes. Mr. Principal, Darby had enough control over them to not burn patients to death, that the hospital staff was fast enough with their evacuation, I'm not betting on that. Mr. Principal, still, we've managed to eliminate one SSS rank and one SS rank villain, while also capturing the main Numu production and research facility. Raisingin, this didn't come up earlier, but do I even want to know why Garaki was connected with fertility clinics? Mr. Principal, you probably don't. But I'm willing to share it with the rest of this alliance. Although it's something that cannot leave this chat. Fashionable late, lies and omissions are what started this chaos. I'm in for honesty. We're all heroes or former heroes. Best of the best, to be included in this council. I cast fist, I agree. Raisingin, same. Ms. Erase ahead. Yes. Mr. Principal, someone disagrees. Mr. Principal, very well. Mr. Principal, League of Villains managed to find evidence for Dr. Garaki leading a 20-plus years-old eugenics program during which he impregnated random women throughout the country with offspring of various supervillains through in vitro fertilization. We estimate that no less than 100 children of people like Gigantomachia, Mr. Compress, Eclipse, Purity, Destro and even All for One were born as a result of this program. I cast fist. This is fucked up. Angry Rabbit, extremely. Mr. Principal, we have 6 such children in the present UA Heroics course alone. League has 3 more in their midst. Mr. Principal, this information cannot leave this chat. If it does, it will ruin lives of people who do not deserve that. Fashionable late, understandable. Those children are victims, but the society would never understand it. How many aspiring young heroes would be branded as children of monsters that they never even met? Fashionable late, and don't have me start on how much we would complicate their family life. Mr. Principal, which is why the official version will be that Garaki used those fertility clinics to obtain medical resources and crucial data about quirk genetics and so on. Mr. Principal, I expect everyone involved to stick to it. Mr. Principal, I'll also personally, well, with Sir Nightie's help, he is already busy doing that, and that's why he is staying quiet, shift through the recovered data. We'll find every single child in question. Mr. Principal, for now we use the fact that Garaki needs to have some connection to those hospitals to trace his hideout and send League of Villains after him. They were kind enough to leave the entire facility to us, while taking only Garaki himself. Mr. Principal, this is a treasure trove of scientific knowledge that I believe will have a special group from the Island analyze. Mr. Principal, however, there is a problem. Super Punch, problem? Mr. Principal, we found 23 Numus, most of them unfinished. The only exceptions are 2 small ones, one of which seems to have possessed a warp quirk. We don't know what happened to the remaining 100. Mr. Principal, we also believe that Garaki started to purge data, starting from the most important. League interrupted that, but not before most of it was gone. Mr. Principal at Deadpan Stalker, do you want to add something? Deadpan Stalker, I found references to something called the 3rd Gen Numu in the files. All I know is that they weren't kept in Garaki's lab, and they were a relatively recent development. Angry Rabbit, shit. I cast fist, something completely new. Deadpan Stalker, probably. But if so, then Overhaul now has them. And we still can't find him. Mr. Principal, which doesn't change the fact that we dismantled the one and only Numu production facility. The amount of resources we just shaved off the PLF is astounding. This isn't a lethal blow by any means, but we've weakened the enemy massively nonetheless. Mr. Principal, now we have to consider our next move carefully. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. You bastard. Garaki shouts. He is furious, despite the past treatment. He knows he lost everything, but he is still fairly cheeky. You are a disgrace, a disgrace. His legs are broken, and so are his fingers. Stain was quite rough, and followed Izuku's orders to make sure that doctor cannot move to the letter. He also broke his fingers in case the good doctor tried something funny. There were way too many almost finished Numus in the lab for them to be in the mood for risk-taking. So, you didn't believe me. Izuku comments. It was perhaps to be expected. If the doctor truly believed Legion's words about his father being alive, he would immediately kowtow and beg for forgiveness. Well, too late for that now. They are in the training room of the base. Izuku, Doctor, and the silent Kurogiri behind Izuku. The rest are either still celebrating the victorious battle or went to sleep already. They know that they shouldn't show up anywhere near the training room until he returns to them. The room is insulated, not exactly soundproof, but perfect for what Izuku is planning for. Tonight. Of course not. Doctor calms just a bit, but his face is as hateful as it was. You didn't even kill 9 and his crew. You are a disgrace. Vigilante pretending to be a villain. All for one. Would never choose someone like you. I killed 9 and his crew. Izuku replies calmly. I resurrected them because I empathize with their stories, not with their goals. I have issues with anyone who develops of might. Makes right mentality, especially when quirks are involved. But they are a family, like the League. I didn't hate them enough to kill them. Only enough to have them spend the rest of their life in a maximum security prison. But you. He chuckles slightly. You I hate. Not as much as Overhaul, but still a lot. And what are you planning to do with that, heir? Garaki seems to hate him more than he is afraid of him. A spectacular achievement, all things considered. I'm going to give you the most painful death I can think of course. Izuku announces, with a straight face. You betrayed me. You sided with Overhaul, the monster that tortured my sister. You acted against the will of my father. Something nasty flinches on Garaki's face. He is no father of yours, traitor. Doctor shouts back. He has no idea that he is just digging his grave deeper. So you didn't check what I told you about. Izuku is, frankly speaking, shocked by that little fact. Oh, well, no matter. Kurogiri. He looks towards his favorite uncle. Bring him. Here. 20 seconds later Kurogiri returns. The towering figure emerges from the black cloud. Are YA winning, son? All for one says in a calm, conversational tone. Looks so to me, at least. Garaki shrinks. There is a look on his face, the look of indescribable emotional torture and mental breakdown. He dedicated his entire life to All for One, the one and only man who believed in his theories and helped him hone his life's work, who supported him for close to a century. The very same All for One that he just realized that he has betrayed. Yes, Dad. Izuku replies. Something deep inside him, something that his father managed to plant in him, but has never made it grow, stares. The very thought of Dr. Garaki consorting with that monster, planning to take away Eri and hurt her again, planning to destroy both families that Izuku has. He wants him to suffer, and he enjoys seeing him like that. Doctor is clearly too out of it. Izuku grabs his head and rams it into the floor. Then he pulls it up, Garaki's eyes finally focusing on him. You'll tell me everything you know about the PLF. Izuku tells Dr. Garaki, with a smile on his face. Smile that he will never ever show to anyone who isn't a person like Garaki. Overhaul saw it. Thunderbolt died too quickly to see it. But Garaki sees it just fine. All for one knows it well, for it's identical to his own. And then I'll steal your quirk. Meh. Not my father. I won't even torture you after that. I'll have Kurogiri warp you to some uninhabited island. I wonder how long you will survive there in your 120-year-old body. He doesn't get to see the fatherly pride on All for One's face. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Small Might, I have some additional, very messed up news. Small Might, I'll risk using such words in front of my idol, and I'll say that they are fucked up. Actually. Principal, Garaki? Small Might, yes. Small Might, I know what the 3rd gen Numas are. Tintin can. Nap needed, Spying eye. Small Might, Garaki learned from Overhaul's research data that the quirk factor of children is more malleable and more likely to survive sudden changes, such as additional quirk implantation. Nap needed, no. Fuck. No. Tintin can. Shit. Small Might. He started picking up children from his eugenics program. 8 to 16 years old. Those from less notable families or small-time villains, carrying powerful quirks or at least quirk factors. And he put them through a variant of pneumification surgeries and implanted, with several quirks. Small Might, no exposed brains. No telling signs of them being Numas. Just pure power and Deep brainwashing. He finished 9 of those, each carrying 5 quirks with a perfect synergy with each other. Mini-gigantamachias, in short. Small Might, Overhaul has them all, and is supposedly hiding outside of Japan with the majority of his forces, due to Eclipse's quirk that he implanted to one of his lieutenants, having international range. Small Might, he apparently laughed and severed the connection when Garaki asked him to come save him. He was no longer needed. All right, Jesus Christ. Small Might, and Overhaul has some special project of his own, or 2 to be precise. One is his new body, created through the peak achievements of Garaki and Overhaul, but it apparently will take weeks to finish it. Small Might. Second is his purified. Garaki had no idea what those are, but after seeing 3rd Gen Numu field testing, Overhaul commented that their pet projects appear to be equally useful. So we can expect something approaching the 3rd Gen Numus in strength, but probably more numerous and still in production. Small Might. Everything we were facing thus far is Overhaul buying time until he amasses enough soldiers, purified and Numus, to take the entire hero society down. CRC, ISP, House of Red, Garaki, all of those are distractions. Small Might. I regret to inform you all, gentlemen, that Overhaul might have us all in check. Asterisk. Garaki and 9 have been taken down. One of her advisors announced. Nedzu just dealt a crippling blow to the Paranormal Liberation Front. Without their Numu production facility, the PLF's strength has been practically halved. This is the time for us to make a major move against the Meta Liberation Army. The President of the Hero Public Safety Commission announces, we need to show to the public that despite the accusations, we are still standing strong. We'll start by making serious moves against the potential traitors in our ranks. MLA espoused strength before all others. Freedom to be yourself, to use your quirks however you saw fit. Strength and freedom to use quirks. Complex mutants and villainous quirk bearers were the most likely candidates for the moles and MLA supporters. It was time to clean up the house. Chapter end notes. You didn't think that I would miss the occasion to let the murder bunny, TM, go on a rampage, right? Also, Izuku is a good boyfriend. He promised Himiko an occasion to stab Garaki once or twice, so he was probably stabbed a few times before having his injuries reset and then being dropped on that island. As for the TV tropes page, 1. Beast isn't a canon character, tongue sticking out, so he can't be in a fan-originated offspring of a canon character category. 2. While Tomura probably played Mortal Kombat, I don't exactly remember ever mentioning that unless I forgot that. It's possible though. 3. Shout-out category misses 2 to FEAR franchise. The first line of the reporter reporting the events in Hosu is taken practically verbatim from the ending helicopter scene of the first installment. Tomura's "they deserve to die, they all deserve to die" line in a chat room around the time when Vanguard Action Squad is created is also a quote from Paxton Fettel, one of the series' main antagonists. 4. Foreshadowing misses a very big one. When Izuku reacts to Gran Torino's review of The League, he mentions that he can't do a lot about being irreplaceable because it's not like there is a villainous mastermind school out there and he can't have his mother adopt one of its students. Q Rabbit. That's probably all. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Also OMFG, I have a TV. Tropes page A. Chapter summary. Peace. People begin to realize what the next chapter is going to be about. Chapter notes. A bit early. Yes, it's not Friday everywhere, but I'm currently riding an emotional high, following the medical examination that confirmed the fact that I do not have cancer. So yeah, grab the chapter and celebrate with me. Laughing face. See the end of the chapter for more. Notes. Harem Mistress. Harem Mistress at Devoted Slave. I was a bit afraid to mention the development here, but Harem Mistress. Baby Factory did marry Izuku, so that just leaves you out, Anne. Devoted Slave. It's all right. Harem Mistress. Are you sure? I don't want you to feel bad about it. Devoted Slave. Listen. Devoted Slave at Harem Mistress at Baby Factory. I'll ask you both. Devoted Slave. How exactly are you different from Rabbit? Harem Mistress. What? Baby Factory. Do you want me to list biological differences between the genders? Baby Factory. I always learn the theories behind my babies before I start the assembly. Devoted Slave. Sigh. Devoted Slave. He has his surname, like you do. Devoted Slave. Izuku appears to have a compulsive need to hug him or pet his head whenever possible, like he occasionally does with you, and you do with him. Devoted slave, I'm like 50% sure that at some point Rabbit sneaked into Izuku's bed. Probably when he felt bad or had a nightmare or something, for comfort. So like you, but rarer and with an actual agenda. Devoted slave, there is zero sex involved. Like with you. Devoted slave, are you actually sure that you are married rather than adopted? Harem mistress, stop bringing up the S word. Devoted slave, it's sex. Harem mistress, stop. Devoted slave, at least write it down in a chat if you can't say it. Aloud. Harem mistress, I said stop. Harem mistress, I'm trying. Harem mistress, my imagination is killing me and Izuku isn't making the. First move. Harem mistress, I'd go along if he did but I can't imagine like starting. Baby factory, odd. Devoted slave, why? Baby factory, that's like the reverse mechanic of their relationship. Normally Himiko was knocked out because of Izuku making a move, while being super bold with her own moves. Baby factory, hence, odd. Devoted slave, well, this time it's about getting knocked up rather than knocked out so. Harem mistress, stop saying words like these please. Devoted slave, you know I'm right. Devoted slave, just tell him that you have a present for him in your room. Wait until he gets. They're wearing something easy to take off. Then take it off suddenly and say that the present is yourself and done. Devoted slave, why is she so silent? Harem mistress, stop corrupting Himiko Blueberry. Devoted slave, oh shit Izu. Harem mistress, she literally fainted on me, damn it. Harem misters, checked her phone and of course that's your fault. Baby factory, can she still corrupt me? Harem mistress, no. Baby factory, sad face. Devoted slave, I'm trying to help you. Harem mistress, please stop helping. Devoted slave, please stop resisting. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Could you please repeat what you just said? Nedzu says into his phone. His brain, currently. Just a bit tired from almost 2 days of trying to figure out how to react to the latest revelations about the PLF, simply refused to compute. The president thinks that with the PLF weakened, the commission needs to make a major move against the MLA. His informant within the HPSC says he is away from home and work and is using a burner phone. Their work relationship is a long one. She wants to clean up the house first. There is a new bill in the works, something to restrict complex mutants and villainous quirk uses access to heroics, and some loyalty tests for those already there. Oh no 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 no. The commission thinks that the PLF had its strength halved because Nedzu didn't share the newest revelations, that they have no proof for except for Legion's words. And if he did it now, the president would simply think that he is conjuring believable lies to help the complex mutants and the villainous quirk users among the heroist business. And if Legion is correct about the situation within the table of rejects, worst of all, he probably is. Nedzu and Sir Night-Eye did their own probing. They didn't like the result. He is going to need a lot of tea to deal with it. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Fiber Master, unranked, joins the chat with default nickname of Fashion Statement. Raisingin, unranked, joins the chat with default nickname of Ninja. Cool Man, unranked, joins the chat with default nickname of Coolman. Joke, unranked, joins the chat with default nickname of Is On Me. Fashion Statement, is someone willing to finally explain to me why we were asked to urgently create accounts in this incredibly unfashionable place? Is On Me, yes. Nap needed. I'm more surprised that you didn't have one already. At Is On Me. Is On Me, maybe I have another one. Tongue sticking out. Cool Man, yeah I don't think that it is a very cool place to be in. Vantablack, S-Rank, joins the chat with default nickname of Vantablack. Principal, this is now officially the UA Alliance Emergency Management chat. Small Might, more like Crisis Management. Also I'm Legion, nice to meet you in person. Emergency is too weak of a word to describe this mess. Cool Man, your nickname is quite cool. Small Might, well thank you. You're cool too, the way you took down the dictator was just super awesome, laughing face. Cool Man, thank you very much. Is On Me, okay. What crisis is this and why am I not seeing Maruko, Gang Orca and Knuckle Duster here? Principal, because the crisis in question is those three preparing a coup d'etat against the government and the Hero Commission. Is On Me, what? Fashion Statement. Is this a form of a joke? Ninja, I sure hope so. Principal, we know about this ever since the Legion's return. Lemillion got suspicious about Mako and Knuckleduster getting so much along and being united in hatred against the Commission. Legion was in a position to launch an investigation into his allies because of being, well, a villain. Principal, he and Vantablack found people connected to the Table of Rejects and the Vigilante Alliance organizing safe houses near major Commission offices and hero agencies of Commission-aligned heroes, gathering medical supplies, support items and weapons, and buying quirk analysis of Commission heroes on the black market. Principal, me and Sir Night Eye have confirmed those findings. Fashion statement, but why? I understand they have reasons to dislike the Commission. The President should burn like subpar quality denim for how she is treating them, but a coup. Small Might, I'm more curious about the reasons for Nedzu inviting everyone right now. Though, Principal, we'll move over to this in a while. Principal, are at Small Might or at Vantablack ready to answer Fashion Statement's question. First, Vantablack, that's because by the table standards Maruko is a barely tolerated moderate. Is on me, she is what? Vantablack, the Table of Rejects long ago stopped making their anger public, because the Commission media lynches made it obvious that any attempt to voice their disapproval will just make them more branded. Vantablack, but the rage is still there. And it's steadily getting worse, as the Commission used them as a media punching bag / scapegoats whenever a hero team-up messed something up. It was 100% sure that members of the group represented by the table will be blamed by the media. Vantablack, Maruko is one of the few table members who still think that coup should be preferably avoided because it will probably make things worse. Gang Orca is from the group that thinks that without a coup, no one will bother listening to the table. And Shishido is from the group that wants to slaughter as many Hero Commission lackeys as possible. Small Might, the general division is like 20 hours 60 minutes and 20 seconds for those 3 approaches, if I remember. Right. Vantablack, yeah, but it seems to have a clear tendency to drift right as time passes. People are radicalizing, which is bad when they are already extremely radical. Is on me, why wasn't I told earlier? Principal, I apologize for that. However, Legion pointed out the underground network has a large representation of the 2 main groups belonging to the table. Is on me, I was loyal to tested. Nap needed, not my idea. Small Might, and you passed. Small Might, close to half of the network didn't. Is on me, what? Small Might, we estimate, but it's at least partially based on tables estimates, that about half of the underground heroes will side with the coup. And I don't expect the remaining ones to feel like fighting for the Commission. Is on me, SHIT. Is on me, considering the general opinion about the Commission among the underground heroes, I have to agree with this assessment. Small Might, now my question. What brought this up, Nedzu? Principal, discovery that the HPSC wants to push a bill through the Diet that will establish a register of villainous quirks and complex mutant quirk users throughout the country and put severe limitations on their ability to become heroes, plus mandatory loyalty tests for those already in the business. Small Might, Jesus fucking Christ. All right, is the president insane? Tintin can, carrot. Small Might, probably not officially, by the virtue of being too dangerous and powerful for any psychologist to be willing to tell her that she needs therapy. Is on me, oh fuck no, this is literally the worst thing to do RN. Ninja, she most certainly is insane. This is complete and utter madness. Even without the PLF and MLA looming over us, that would still be a suicide. And that's without mentioning how evil and wrong that is. Fashion statement, the table will start a coup over this. Vantablack, the lack of question mark makes it obvious that you do understand the situation. Vantablack, yes. Yes it will. And if Maruko will try to stop it, Shishido and Gang Orca will simply depose her and launch the coup on their own. And if they by some unexpected coincidence refuse to depose her, the lower-ranked members of the table will depose them all and start a coup on their own. Small Might, time estimates. Vantablack, depends on how quickly the news will spread. If it's the Commission's public stunt, they will probably announce it soon. Then anywhere between 24 to 72h for the last rushed preparations. Vantablack, they appear to be mostly ready. They just need to gather their forces and explain the plan to them. Fashion statement, This is probably not a very fashionable statement from my side, but considering the treatment that complex mutants and villainous quirk users have to endure, I'm not sure if I feel like risking the life of myself and my sidekicks to save the commission. Ninja, same. President is de facto a supervillain, saved from this designation by being part of the government and ruling over the organization that decides who is and who isn't a villain, who is going to announce themselves as a supervillain in such a situation. Small might. Hey, don't lump me and Vantablack with her. Even us supervillains don't want to have anything to do with her. Angry face. That woman is nasty. All right, I agree with raising an and fashion statement. All right, the HPSC president is the true villain in this. I'm not going to use the remnants of one for all to beat people who demand equality and to be treated like quote-unquote normal people. It'd be borderline blasphemy considering this quirk's history. Spying eye. I would prefer to not back the HPSC in this either. Principle. I believe that the UA as a faction should stay out of this and remain neutral as a whole, with exception of those heroes who decide to follow their conscience. However, this will be a problem if the legally elected government asks us to intervene, because we can't exactly refuse that. Ninja, doesn't this mean that the coup will certainly fail? Tintin can. I believe it will go off like the October Revolution. Small might. Read deeper into the pre-quirk history. Tintin can. Decided to deepen my understanding of villains and heroes by learning what those terms meant before the quirks. Small might. Plus ultra. Tintin can. Always. Nap needed. Elaborate please. Tintin can. Coup d'etat in Russia, long ago. The group responsible for it was extremely unpopular, to the point where less than 5% of the garrison and police in the capital supported it. But it succeeded, because less than 2.5% of them liked the previous government enough to fight in its defense. The rest decided to go home, went to loot the capital or ignored the coup entirely. Spying eye. What at fashion statement said. Majority of heroes will act the same. Tintin can. Yes. The table and alliance has low numbers, but they only need to take down the commission heroes, because not only the UA heroes but also the majority of the independents will refuse to bleed for the HPSC. Tintin can. Like during that revolution, the majority of those supposed to resist it will stay at home or refuse to fight. Principle. The president of the HPSC lives in a bubble. She is surrounded by advisors whose work at least partially depends on telling her what she wants to hear. She knows of the events, but probably doesn't know how much Hosu weakened her popularity even among the heroes supposedly loyal to the commission. And the new initiative will only make it worse, at least among the decent heroes. So a majority of them. Spying eye. All she sees are the general popularity rankings, and she hopes to improve those by heavy-handed measures. Tintin can. Yes. Tintin can. If Miruko plays it out correctly, she can win. Small might. Should she win, then? Tintin can. What? Small might. This is a crisis management chat. Small might. We're supposed to manage this crisis. Small might. We need to preserve as much firepower as we can to keep Redestro and overhaul at bay after this mess is over. Small might. I don't think that we can somehow stop the coup from happening at this point. Not with how livid the table members are and with the HPSC not likely to listen to us. Small might. Will Miruko's victory help in stopping PLF, if we make it clear and overwhelming? Small might. Because sorry, but I'm not going to stand by quietly if you decide to warn the president about what's coming. Small might. I have standards. Principle. Heroes can't help, because it would weaken the image of heroics further. But you aren't restricted by this. Small might. Yes. Small might. So, once again. Small might. Do we want Miruko to win? Asterisk. Is this confirmed? Miruko asks. The rabbit woman is in her house, wearing her civilian clothes. She has no hero agency of her own. Eternal loner, who espouses her own strength. Then again, when you are this strong, you become an army on your own. The paper in her hands is the printout of the commission's soon-to-be bill, together with an analysis of the chances of it passing through the Diet. Unfortunately, the analysis suggests that the HPSC will achieve its goal, although with minimal majority over the Sena parliamentarians, and those who represent Nedzu more than they do their voters. I'm afraid that it is. Legion replies. Exchange knew how to organize a meeting between them, Besides, it's not like Miruko's contact details were a state secret. They were ways of organizing a meeting when you really wanted to. And with Kurogiri warping his quirk clone directly into her home, there was no one to witness the meeting between a hero and villain. Nedzu got it from his contact in the HPSC. Trusted contact. This will be publicized in a day or two. It is perhaps unsurprising that she crushes the paper in her hands. Izuku should perhaps be happy that it's the only thing that gets crushed. At least for now. HPSC president should probably start wearing the toughest helmet she can find. Why are you here? Miruko is furious. She is, as it was stated, a loner. Her being the leader of the soon-to-be revolution has less to do with her trying to work with others than with others admiring her strength and brutal honesty. Gangorka leads the organization. Miruko is its symbol, but an influential one. Nedzu send me. Izuku replies honestly, and Miruko seems to be briefly surprised. UA cannot officially support a coup, and we both know that this bill will start one. Nedzu cannot intervene directly. Having All Might battle it out with other heroes, however unworthy they were, in the name of a coup would be a ruin of the country. But I'm a villain. He smiles faintly. He really would have preferred to meet one of his many idols, and his brother's top one idol apparently, in different circumstances. First the literal war council, now this. Even without fighting alongside you in Knuckle Duster, I can at least triple your chances of victory. Not gonna fight alongside us. Miruko isn't insulting his intelligence. She openly admits the coup is brewing. She knows it does, and that the HPSC has just made stopping it impossible. Yours is a morally cleaner cause. Legion replies. Heroes and vigilantes rising against oppression. This is one of the coup's trump cards. Having known supervillains and villains fight alongside you would just give the HPSC's bitch of a president something to rally independent heroes to her cause. But I can eliminate the government and the parliament before the coup, non-lethally. He adds quickly that nasty flinch on her face was worrying. There'll be no one left to order UA and the independents to help the HPSC. Exchange will assist you in gathering information and supplies. Villain Industries will give you equipment. Kurogiri and Sunset will help you warp whatever you need to the right place, without raising suspicion. And in exchange, Miruko asks, I'm not dumb. You have an agenda in your generosity. Garaki was captured, according to Overhaul's plan. Izuku replies, PLF is as strong as it was before Garaki and Nine were eliminated. We cannot stop the coup from happening right now, but we need to minimize the casualties, or Overhaul and Redestro will then conquer Japan. We cannot allow the coup to devolve into a civil war, and the coups that fail to succeed fully tend to do that. So 24 hours, Miruko. If you fail to eliminate the commission within a day, you'll stand down, or the UA will step in and force you to. And then what? Miruko tilts her head. Get myself and those who trusted me fucking arrested and jailed in Tartarus for life. He answers honestly. She doesn't like his idea, but she knows she has no other choice. So, eventually she accepts. ****. Small might, Miruko accepted my offer. Coup will start 48H after the official announcement of the bill project. Since it will be pushed through as an emergency, the thing will probably start soon after it's voted in. Principle, details of the offer? Small might, old maxim, the less you know, the shorter the interrogation. Small might, I did my best to minimize our losses. And by ours, I mean the entirety of our anti-PLF alliance. Principle, fair, though I have a weird feeling that you made it so that you'll benefit from it, whether the coup succeeds or not. Small might, hey, I'm a villainous mastermind, I'm supposed to do things like that. Principle, Tsukochi? Lie detector, I'm 99% sure that the Commissioner General Kenji Tsuragami is a part or at least a sympathizer of the table of rejects. Principle, oh dear. Principle, so the police are a part of this? Lie detector, you know how badly we are treated by the HPSC, as pretty much overglorified. Jailers. Lie detector, I don't think that the chief of the police will tell us to assault governmental buildings, but I'm 99 to 100% sure that if he doesn't receive appropriate orders from the legal government, he will use any explanation possible to keep the police out of it. Lie detector, cases of the revolution that Tintin mentioned. He will not try to overthrow the government, Only a small part of the police is from the groups represented by the table. Lie detector, but he will ignore the president's pleas to come save it. Lie detector, the HPSC can at best hope for screw them both approach from the police. Spying eye, what about the JSDF? Principal, great enigma. Government have been cutting down their funding, rebuilding. Damages from villain attacks costs a lot, almost continuously since the dawn of quirks. So, there is certainly some resentment, but I don't think that it's very keen on fighting for equality. Tintin can, it still exists. I thought it was disbanded. Small might, something like 15,000 members, serving typically as an honor guard. Weak. Quirks mostly. Garrison Tartarus mostly, but also do some disaster relief if things get serious. Small might, using quirks in international warfare is theoretically forbidden, but it's not as if someone cares about that at this point. Principle, reasonable governments do care. But it's not like we have a lot of those in the area. Left. But if Chinese warlords invaded us, the Commission would classify them as villains and send Endeavor, and that would be the end of the war. Principle, we have a navy, but those won't play a significant role in what's to come. Small might, anyone else that might interfere. Small might, PLF probably. MLA doesn't have a warper, but we should probably get ready for PLF popping up if things get nasty enough. All right, I agree with that assessment. Is there a possibility of us using Kurogiri to move UA-aligned heroes, at least those aware of the alliance, as a fast response force if that happened? Small might, I'd prefer to avoid this, honestly. Hard to hide the alliance after something like that. Principle, true. If love involvement in the coup will become obvious, and so will our involvement with the love, it will be hard to pretend that our hands were clean in all of that. Principle, we require plausible deniability over our involvement in the coup. Principle, let's consider this a worst-case scenario. But all might, Lemillion, so night eye. Best genist, edge shot, Crust and the UA faculty should be on the standby for emergency deployment if things go seriously awry. All right. Small might, LOL. All right. Small might, nothing sir. World is a stage, you're kidding. Small might, do I sound like I'm joking? World is a stage, that's an option. Asterisk. Small might, according to my understanding of the mechanisms of the quirks that you and twice hold, yes. Might want to ask my mom for assistance if you want to pull it off. Flawlessly, you absolute drama queen. Small might, we'll do some field tests today. Small might, chickening out. World is a stage, of course not young Midoriya. World is a stage. With this heist I will become an SSS rank villain and I'll join the pantheon of the greatest thieves in history. My name will be spoken as an equal of the peerless thief. Future generations of thieves will be looking back to me as a giant, a master, a demigod. World is a stage. This is brilliant. I'm so happy to have joined the league of villains. Small might, pull it off and I'll promote you to the rank of my adopted uncle. World is a stage, yes. World is a stage. I shall do my utmost, my most generous lord. Asterisk. The media announced the HPSC president's new initiative. The reactions were mixed, to say the least. Her lackeys pointed out how many villains are recruited from among the complex mutants and the villain quirks. It wasn't surprising. Their data was entirely correct. The one thing Izuku failed to understand in their logic was how denying those two groups, or almost denying, the chance to become the heroes was going to help them stop committing a disproportionate amount of crimes. What options were left for a powerful quirk user from either of this group if heroism was denied to him? They possessed unique and notable skills that could guarantee them a decent life. Heroic industry offered that. What's left was mediocrity, where they could expect to be discriminated against, or villainy. The only even remotely reasonable point in the HPSC arguments was the security risk of the groups in question going into bed with the Meta Liberation Army or the Paranormal Liberation Front. But dealing with it in the heavy-handed way that the Commission was doing was only going to make more powerful quirk users look towards redestro or overhaul. It was a heavily polarizing move, instead of the publicity stunt that the president expected. Of course, she probably identified the polarizing part as her enemies plotting against her. Then, again, she wasn't wrong in that one place. One TV debate that Izuku saw didn't end with a hero versus hero battle only because one of the heroes in question was All Might. His presence calmed the opposition down and stopped them from doing something very, very stupid. Spinner joining the list of All Might fans in the league after seeing this program was a small success. ******. Well, I can't exactly say no to it. Eraserhead replies. Not with your parents agreeing to it. Why exactly do you need the day off? She decided to approach him after the homeroom class. She had to eventually. It was about tomorrow, after all. The dorm systems and all the additional security was a thankful development. Especially after the USJ attack and what happened at the training camp. But it makes certain things harder than they should be. Family situation Kiro. Asui Tsuyu replies promptly. It's, in a way, a family situation. She has to help Samidare and Satsuki, her younger siblings, among many other people. She doesn't like it, but she and Eraserhead both know that if the bill passes, her hopes for heroics are dead. She might have a provisional license, but getting the real one will be I see. Eraserhead replies promptly. I should probably ask why every single complex mutant quirk bearer in the UA heroics courses has a family situation on the same day, just as our guidance counselor, and a handful of people with quirks that are for some reason perceived as villainous. He sighs. But I won't. Just be careful and come back to us unharmed. He knows, she realizes. He knows and he doesn't forbid her from going. He doesn't try to arrest her. He just tells her to be careful. It might have been less than a year, and it didn't start on the best note. But she is extremely happy that Aizawa Shouter was her homeroom teacher, and that she got to join the UA heroics course. She can only hope that it's not the end. Thank you, Aizawa-sensei. She says and bows her head a little. I think that considering the number of people developing family situations tomorrow, the school can survive a single day without lessons. Eraserhead adds. Go tell your classmates that the rest of the day is free. Do something you teenagers do when you have too much free time. She will make the most out of this day. Chapter end notes. If the UA was still wiretapped. Koroiro, * hears the talk between Aizawa and Tsuyu *. Koroiro, * files the recording under the evidence that Aizawa has a heart category *. Koroiro, what a rare treat. Also get ready for another plot rollercoaster full of things you certainly didn't expect. We're starting with the coup, and then things get progressively more intense, winky face. Chapter summary. Coup. The time has come for the long-awaited Mr. Compress before. I mean, the coup. Yes, the coup. Chapter notes. See the end of the chapter 4. Notes. Everyone knows me, but I'll introduce myself regardless. The figure in a street magician garb, with a colorful mask and a cane announces from the recording. I am Mr. Compress, the world's greatest magician and a noble thief. The man who steals from the naughty and gives to those who are in need. The descendant of the peerless thief, Oji Harima himself. He gives a short bow. The people throughout Japan see him. He is on the internet and in the TV. Whether he achieved that through hacking or by promising the TVs a good scoop is anyone's guess at this point. I have come to you to announce my greatest heist. Mr. Compress says. Who was the naughty one this time? All of you, of course. The entirety of Japan. The people you choose to represent you are gathered in the national diet as we speak, together with the entirety of the government. They are debating the most atrocious of laws, the one denying a good part of the society their right to strive towards becoming heroes. My ancestors didn't spend their entire lives fighting against unworthy heroes for me to ignore an injustice of this scale, performed by the Hero Commission itself. But first, let me introduce my wonderful assistants. He points towards a, still familiar to many, figure in a black catsuit. She might have been inactive for many years and only regained her ability to walk a while ago, but Midoriya Inko is still graceful. And Eri did make her younger when she made her walk again. Her bow is deep, and there is something feline in the smoothness of movement and almost improbable sense of balance. First one is Mischief. Mr. Compress announces loudly. Many of you still remember her as an S-rank thief who is believed to have died 14 years ago. She, in fact, retired and decided to focus on her family. But she decided in her endless generosity to assist me in my greatest heist. Then he points towards a man in black costume with comically large wild eyes. His slight bow is much less graceful, and it's clear that he is extremely nervous. The second one is twice. Mr. Compress says. He is not yet a ranked villain, something we will be working on today, and is a relatively recent addition to the levelers. Something you can certainly guess from the signs of the stage fright. Don't make this fool you. His quirk is a truly wonderful one, and he is an extremely nice fellow. And now, my fans, haters and the boring rest, a question. Mr. Compress once again focuses on the camera. What can you steal from a country itself? A lot of things. But this has to be something truly, truly valuable. And what is truly important to the country as a whole? The image of the trio of thieves in some underground studio vanishes, replaced with a National Diet building, seen from the air. The camera is probably on some drone. There are people surrounding the building. Not just heroes tasked with its protection. There is a circle of people surrounding all of them, divided into dozens of groups, each composed of Mr. Compress, Mischief, and Twice. The heroes are seen scrambling to intercept. But then something happens. The building and everything inside the circle starts warping, getting smaller, changing. Within less than 20 seconds, the National Diet vanishes, leaving nothing but a semicircular hole in the ground, slowly filled with water from the few severed pipes. Heroes are nowhere to be seen. Mischief figures extend their hands. After a few seconds, whatever they do is over. The three people groups all began to flee from the scene, each in a different direction. Then the camera is back to the studio. Which one of 100 Mischief clones carries the National Diet building and the entire Japanese government, I wonder? Mr. Compress asks. Well, you better catch them all. If the heroes fail to catch the correct one, I'll contact you again in a few days to talk about the ransom. And in the meantime, have a nice day, Japan. The three figures in the studio bow again before the transmission ends. Many thieves stole from the government. Mr. Compress became the first one to steal the government. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Tintin can, how? Principal, WHY. Spying eye, where? Small might, how? Twice can create copies of people that actually can use their quirks, lied. To you all a bit, oopsie. That was Leveler's secret though, not mine. Mr. Compress can store everything from an area of space. But a single Mr. Compress has a limit to how large the space is and how quick the storage is. Mr. Compress and 99 of his clones working together on compressing the same space. In the meantime, Small might. Why? Because I promised Maruko to non-lethally eliminate the government so that there is no one to order the independent heroes and the UA to assist the commission. Mr. Compress will give them back once the coup is over, although there probably will be a ransom demand. Small might. Where? Not answering that question obviously. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Vampire Princess. What the hell? Clown Lord. I have become a god. Insomniac. OMFG. Insomniac. You stole the government. Insomniac. This is gold. Clown Lord. I know. Perhaps literally if I'll ask for ransom in gold. Insomniac. LOL. Small Might changed CLOWNLORD's nickname to Clown Uncle. Small Might. You have been officially promoted to MY Adopted Uncle. Small Might, as per agreement. Small Might, also thank you for doing that. Mom says that it's a pleasure to work with you. Clown Uncle, the pleasure is mutual. Clown Uncle, so what happens next? Clown Uncle, I assume that this is a part of some plan of yours, unless you just randomly popped up on a private chat and told me to steal the Japanese government for you. Vantablack, boss making really wild demands out of the blue episode 235435235. Small Might, now you better grab some popcorn, since you just started a coup d'etat. Clown Uncle, I did what? Small Might, OBSERVE. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. The country was still reeling in shock from Mr. Compress' greatest heist, when another shocking event happened. Maruko announced a press conference. That alone would be surprising, but the actual conference was even greater of a shock. Maruko announced that considering the atrocious incompetence of the Hero Commission, proven by the Mr. Compress heist, and their hostile and discriminatory policies, its president is to stand down immediately and get ready for a trial. This was spoken in the typical Maruko way, so it included a lot of expletives. She followed up with an announcement that considering the nature of the villain organization known as the Hero Commission, the heroes will move in to apprehend its members immediately. She urged other heroes to join the effort to clean the country from corruption and injustice. It was the signal. The fighting started almost everywhere at once. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. A coup. The president of the Hero Commission says in the deafening silence of her office. This is a coup. Her mind can barely compute the very term. Miruko of all people, decided to lead a coup against her? This is ridiculous. Sure, there are many complex mutants throughout the heroic industry, but the Commission's superiority in numbers is astounding. The only problem was Nedzu, but she could counteract him if she squashed this idiotic coup quickly. I really don't have the time for this. She announces with a painful sigh. Send Hawks to arrest Miruko. How many other complex mutant heroes are going to follow her? She was in her conference room in the HPSC headquarters, surrounded by her closest circle of advisors and heads of departments. They gathered to form a cohesive response to Mr. Compress Heist when this happened. One of her advisors was listening to a phone call, probably from someone with better access to the arriving information. What passed for the emergency management section of the HPSC was one floor beneath them. She could see the advisor's face growing increasingly pale. Eventually he finished the phone call. All of them. He replies, with a shaky voice. And almost every hero which would be included in the villainous quirk register. We are under attack everywhere, and he pauses. For a second, trying to force the words out. The Commissioner General just issued an arrest warrant for you, as a suspected SSS rank villain. He did what? Her only answer was silence. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Small mite, I thought that police would stay neutral. Lie detector, I thought so too. Principal, it's just an arrest warrant, though? I mean, he has evidence for the Commission. Cover-up of Endeavor abuse, and probably did some under-the-cover investigation of the Thunderbolt mess-up that Legion mentioned. Principal, he could do that at every moment. He did it now because there is no government to tell him to sweep that under the rug. Principal, the police as a whole don't seem to leave their precincts. Lie detector, I can confirm. We have an order to stay inside and do not respond to any calls that seem to be connected to the ongoing coup d'etat, regardless of the side calling us in. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. The Storm Chasers Hero Agency was among the first ones to fall. Without Thunderbolt to lead it, it has taken a massive hit in combat strength. But it was firmly on the Hero Commission side, so it was naturally among the locations that the table had to attack. Unfortunately for its defenders, they were taken off guard. The few heroes and a lot of sidekicks belonging to the agency were mostly wearing their casual clothes, were scattered through the building, or in few rare cases, were outside it to begin with, and were only starting to notice what was happening in the media when the attack started. Even more unfortunately to its defenders, Shishido and a group of truly angry members of the table were the ones to attack it. They spared no one. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. It's official now. Overhaul announces from his command center. The military base he is living in was constructed by one or another government in the past and then eventually abandoned, at least before he moved in. Oversight on its creator's part. Insanity is a symptom of the quirk disease. Heroes are now slaughtering each other. What madness is that? He didn't even have a hand in this. Not like he is angry about it. The heroes are helping him kill them all, so it's quite nice of them. Are we going to, intervene? One of his advisors asks. He seems to be as surprised by the news as Overhaul is. They all are. The news from Japan they are all seeing on the screen make no sense. Overhaul calculates their level of preparations for the next stage of their plan. He doesn't need Mastermind to know that the heroes are now weakened and occupied. But he still needs a massive amount of firepower to achieve their next objective. Start preparations for the sortie. Overhaul eventually announces. We'll move or not. You off, depending on the situation. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. After a painfully long time, Burnin finally picks up the phone. She is now the head of Endeavor's old agency and has been promoted to a full hero. A great achievement. Most important of all, the agency is relatively close to the Hero Commission's headquarters, and the fact that the latter is yet to be attacked is probably a miracle. Yes, Burnin asks. President is slightly surprised by the coldness in her voice. This is a coup. I need your agency to reinforce the defense of the HPSC headquarters. She responds quickly and officially. When can I expect you to arrive? How about never? Burn-in replies, and the president freezes for a few seconds. Did Burn-in just what? She eventually vocalizes her surprise. Endeavor was my idol long before I joined his agency. Burn-in replies. Her voice is less cold and more venomous now. Hearing what Darby said about him, I know he said the truth. I know because I know how much of an obsession about the first seat in the hero ranking Endeavor had. I was originally angry at him. I felt betrayed, you know? But then, I started to think. HPSC was backing him in this. And who would benefit the most from having a hero to equal All Might in their pocket? What are you talking about? President had no time to waste, and Burn-in was just. You and your organization twisted and destroyed the man that inspired me to become a hero. Burn-in continued talking, ignoring the president entirely. All in the name of what? Exactly. Getting more power than Nedzu? Well, good luck with that. This is now Shoto, Todoroki's hero agency, and I'll be keeping this post for him until he graduates. We'll stay neutral in this coup, like the UA does. And you, I hope you'll rot in hell, bitch. The connection ended. President stared at the phone in her hand for a few long seconds, trying to understand what just happened. Asterisk. Don't you think that this is a bit too much, Miruko? Hawks asks. He is floating in the air in front of her. She didn't exactly hide. She was simply standing in front of the building where she held her press conference. She knew he was coming. A coup? Really? How's that? Something a hero would do. That's exactly something a hero would do, bastard. Miruko replies boldly. She hoped that Hawks could come. She is no leader. A symbol, yes, but no leader. She is a warrior, a champion of her cause, and her enemy was kind enough to send a champion of their own for her to bring down. Miruko, he is trying, probably to make her surrender. Did the overbitch forget to mention to him how serious the situation was? Don't make me do it. What's the difference between the two of us, Hair? She isn't much of a talker, but she has words to say. That all you have is just a single feature that a human shouldn't have, and I have multiple. That your children will have either some random feather-oriented quirks or will inherit one from their mother, and mine will all be half-rabbits. She laughs bitterly. Oh, I still got off easily. I could look like Gang Orca. Way less human. Even less accepted. Miruko, you are going to regret this. Something on Hawk's face steals up. When this is over. I live every day of my life like there's no tomorrow so that when my number's up, I can check out with no regrets. She interrupts him. If you and your boss thought that I'm going to lie down when a villain like her is ruining lives of innocent people, then you both know shit about Miruko the hero. Now come. She smiles. In the way that made many villains surrender immediately. Let's fight. Asterisk. The biggest surprise of the coup were the villain quirk heroes. They weren't included in the rankings. The Hero Commission never considered them that much of a threat due to that. Completely oblivious to the fact that the hero rankings were at least partially sorted according to their popularity, and that there was an entire category of heroes that couldn't get high in the ranking, regardless of their strength. Rank 9 hero, Scream, learned that the hard way. Her agency was attacked by a task force, composed primarily of the villain quirk heroes, most of them from the Underground Hero Network. She fought hard, that much had to be said. Her quirk was oddly similar to Present MIC's. Then again, it's not like there are many ways in which combat-worthy sonic quirks manifest. She and her sidekicks hold their ground for 20 minutes. Scream eventually fell when she was confronted by two unranked heroes, one whose quirk suppressed all sounds in the vicinity, rendering her quirk useless, and another who could trap people who looked into his eyes in nightmarish hallucinations. By the time she woke up from them, she was already incarcerated. The reinforcements she called from the Fourth Kind's agency never came. When two interns from the UA, Ejiro Kirishima and Tetsu, asked him about it, the chivalrous hero responded by saying that there is nothing chivalrous in siding with the Hero Commission. Asterisk. President put the phone back down. What did Ryukyu say? One of her advisors decided to interrupt the silence. She pretended to be a voicemail. President answers. Her voice is unexpectedly tired and She looks like she aged 10 years in the past 2 hours. No help is coming. Gang Orca picked that very moment to use his sonar blast to shatter half of the windows in the front wall of the Hero Commission headquarters. His sidekicks stormed in, with him, walking in right behind them. The security and the few heroes stationed throughout the building did their best to stop the attack. It was rather obvious that their best wasn't going to be enough. There was only one last number to phone. She wanted to avoid it. It was too early. It was supposed to be her trump card, something that would allow her to retake Hokkaido once it would finally be ready. And, if the worst came to happen, a potential counter to All Might. Mera. She says into the phone once the man on the other end picks it up. Deploy the paragons. Now. Asterisk. Snatch was a hero that specialized in convoy escort. He was the man who was tasked with making sure that the dangerous villains stopped by the other heroes made it safely to the prisons. His quirk had nothing to do with speed. It was sand control. But he had a lot of it stored in his car. It made his car go with only a moderate speed, but allowed him to field significant firepower when his convoy was attacked. He was also the only major commission hero who was actually hard to catch. He was on the move for most of the time. Snatch might have avoided the events of that day simply because of that. But he didn't expect the temporary cooperation between the League of Villains and the Vigilante Alliance. When he departed from the police precinct where he was in when the coup started, he didn't notice one of Gremlin's drones hanging over him. The Alliance knew where he was heading. Snatch found that out when Knuckle Duster used a sniper rifle to puncture the tire of his car. Snatch lost control of his car and it crashed with high speed. But he was a rank 14 hero. He used his sand to dampen the impact, and while the car was totaled, he emerged from the wreckage practically unharmed. And right in time to see members of the Narahata Vigilante group step out of 2 cars that stopped in front of him. 7 people, armed with knives, baseball bats, and naked fists. Plus, of course, some quirks. Well, don't get me wrong. One of them, a young man with a head formed of spikes, says, "You're apparently one of the less nasty of commission heroes. But we really can't let you reach Dreamer's hero agency." Oh. Snatch is angry. He only recently finished paying for his car. Which one of you, punks, is going to take me, rank 14 hero, down? It was Pop Step, with a set of taser boots created for her by the Villain Industries. How exactly did she sneak behind him into a perfect position to leap at his back and incapacitate him was anyone's guess, really. Asterisk. Well, you got me. Hawks is lying on the ground beneath her, thoroughly exhausted and beaten up. He used all of his remaining feathers to stop her last kick, but she still broke a rib or 2. Not like Maruko is looking much better. His feathers' words cut her badly. She also has a few puncture wounds from his feathers. She is in no condition to continue fighting, but there is no one to fight in the vicinity. The nearest hero agencies have all announced their neutrality. Being in no condition to fight is meaningless when there is no fight to have. So, what now? Hawks says. Even in his state, he is still cheerful. So disgustingly cheerful. Gonna arrest me now, Maruko. Despite being beaten down by her, he still doesn't take her seriously. Did he even fight for real? Well, she'll never find out now. No, she says. He gasps when he feels her feet on his throat, pushing down on him. He is trying to say something, but she isn't letting him. I know about Hosu, Hawks. I know that. You killed Ingenium. The struggling under her intensifies as the realization blooms on his face. I know that the HPSC picked you up from the street and changed you into their poster boy. Maruko says quietly. I know that they have controlled you ever since you were a child. And I know that bitch used you as her pet assassin ever since Lady Nagant went renegade on the commission. But even then, you could have missed. With his speed, all you had to do was to say that he heard something and dodged, enough for you to miss his vitals. And that there were heroes coming, so you fled. But you killed him. He grabbed her leg beneath the knee and tried to, pointlessly, pull her off his throat. Desperate struggles. Pointless struggles. I never met Ingenium, you know. Maruko adds. Not my type of man. Way too weak. But I know that among his 70 sidekicks, he had 22 villain quirkus, for hidden, quirkless and 12 complex mutants, including one girl that he personally talked off the rooftop and told her that she can be a hero and that he'll help her in that. Miruko looks down at Hawks, whose struggles are growing weak. And you killed him, Hawks. When he stops struggling, she splatters his brain on the pavement with a kick. She might be exhausted and wounded, but she doesn't leave things unfinished. Asterisk. Looks like Gang Orca has really scared her off. Crawler says, still busy observing the HPSC headquarters through a set of binoculars. The helicopter approaching the building is a clear indication of this. Someone was looking for an evac from the sinking ship, and it probably wasn't an accountant. Oh, how long she was waiting for this day. Unsurprising, if the news is to be believed. She replies calmly, "We're winning. Everywhere, so she is probably planning to escape to some country with which Japan has no extradition agreement." They are standing together on a rooftop of a building a few hundred meters away from the HPSC headquarters. They aren't exactly hiding, then again they don't really have to. They have a third vigilante with them, a girl who can keep things hidden by making people outside of the area of influence see said area as it looked before the quirk was activated. The world outside of them saw an empty rooftop. A bit of cheating, but she wasn't going to complain about that. The helicopter landed. 4 people. Crawler announces. He is a decent spotter, she has to admit. Looks like heroes, but I don't recognize their uniforms. And, oh, looks like the overbitch is here. She's leaving the building with several bodyguards. Plus Insomnia and Flash. Nothing out of ordinary, maybe save for the heroes that arrived on the helicopter. Insomnia and Flash were 2 quite powerful heroes that she kept on a short leash and used as her personal bodyguards. Then again, they weren't just leashed. They were loyal. Although she had no idea why. Great, she says. After several years of being a sniper for the Vigilante Alliance, she has finally reached this moment. There was no need to pretend anymore. She put down the sniper rifle that she used as a part of her camouflage. Knuckle Duster had a good taste in guns, another thing she had to admit. Then she morphed her right arm into her own sniper rifle. "So, Lady Nagant?" Crawler asks, his eyes still on their targets. "Ready for some revenge?" "Always, Koichi." She smiles, locates the HPSC president through her scope, and pulls the trigger. Chapter endnotes. Victory. Or is it? Also surprise Nagant and surprise investigative skills of Miruko. I really like those 2 characters even in canon, and that's rare. Also, let me be honest with you. The idea for the coup was at least partially influenced by the supremely intimidating Gang Orca and his sidekick army stepping in during the provisional license exam. It was so awesome that I just had to put similar, but, you know, more, scene in the fanfic. Hence Gang Orca storming the HPSC headquarters. Chapter summary. Coup 2. Things no longer go accordingly to the plan. Accordingly to anyone's plan, to be honest. Chapter notes. In my defense, I know this is a low blow. Like the whole make the world think for like. One chapter that Hagakure is a traitor before revealing that nope that Horikoshi pulled. I should left some suggestions that things were going to go in a bit different in the last chapter, something more pronounced than Mera, deploy the Paragons. Sorry for that. See the end of the chapter for more. Notes. Up until that very moment, the coup was progressing according to plan, and actually ahead of schedule. The only serious delays were the Gang Orca's assault on the HPSC headquarters. Occurred almost an hour late due to a completely unexpected traffic jam, and hound dogs. Assault on the Sweet Dreams Agency. After less than 5 hours of fighting, the majority of the notable Hero Commission aligned. Hero agencies have either fallen, or were busy falling to the attacks. The only top 15 heroes serving the commission that were yet to be incarcerated were those that were currently serving as a part of the Northern Battle Group, so Yoro, Musha and Boulder, and only the former was willing to bleed for the commission, and Dreamer. Hawks was dead. Scream and Snatch were arrested. Almost all notable independent hero agencies refused to side with the HPSC, although typically they chose neutrality. The police took the neutral option as well, save for its Commissioner General. The JSDF were entirely forgotten in the chaos, and its soldiers were watching the chaos in the media. Besides, it would take it further hours to deploy, even if the president remembered that it exists. Most of all, Gang Orca took over 75% of the HPSC headquarters, with the remaining heroes and security units in the building unlikely to offer significant resistance. In fact, the resistance was almost entirely broken at this point, with the remaining defenders typically choosing to surrender at the first sight of Gang Orca's sidekicks. It appeared that the coup succeeded. Unfortunately, the situation was a bit more complicated than that. *****. Sniper, get down, one of the paragons that arrived on the helicopter shouted. The president felt her bodyguards throwing her on the ground. A second later she heard the thunderous sound and what felt like a nearby explosion. The second shot beheaded Flash, not giving the hero the time needed to activate their quirk to blind whoever attacked her. The attacker couldn't hit the president now, not when she was covered with her bodyguards, most of which carried body-hardening quirks, but they could eliminate everyone else. Insomni was mostly useless in this situation, but he died as the third one, regardless. The paragons finally moved in. One of them extended their hand and fired a blinding projectile towards the nearest building. The projectile exploded over it, raining fire on its rooftop. Whoever was there either died or fled, for there was no fourth shot. *****. Repeat that, Gang Orca said into the microphone. He was bulldozing the remaining, rather pitiful, resistance while rushing towards the uppermost level of this maze of a building. Then, this happened. We failed to kill her, Crawler replies. There is pain audible in his voice. She escaped on a helicopter. You have several new hostiles inbound. I think they mean business. Oh, joy. Gang Orca would have replied to that, but that's when the ceiling in the corridor in front of him gave in. The muscular figure wearing an unfamiliar hero uniform lands there. 2 seconds later another figure in black bodysuit lands behind it. There you are, villain, the muscular one says, with disgust dripping off his tongue. I'm Valiant, a rank 3 paragon, and the man behind me is Foresight, rank 4 paragon. We've come here to arrest you, or kill you, if you resist. What do you choose? Paragon. Gang Orca's thoughts drift to what they knew about Hawk's past. How the Commission pretty much bought him from his family and then trained him in secret for years, before showing him to the world. That bitch prepared her own private army in secret. Gang Orca doesn't bother answering with words. Instead he unleashes his sonar blast. *****. Hound Dog touches Dreamer with a taser and flips it on. A few seconds of electrocution later, the petite rank 8 hero goes limp. He lets her go, and her body hits the floor and stays there, motionless. UA's guidance counselor actually feels kinda bad about it. Dreamer is one of the youngest pro heroes out there. She is merely 18 years old, and she looks 16. It feels like doing it to one of his students. He spent too many years helping kids with discrimination-caused emotional baggage that they shouldn't have to not join the coup. But it still feels wrong. At least they managed to take the Sweet Dreams agency without killing anyone. UA students and a handful of pro heroes, mostly underground ones, are rounding the last defenders up and arresting them. Dreamer's agency, GHRHRH, has fallen, he says into the microphone. The independent and secure communication network that the table obtained on the black market, Hound Dog does his best to not notice the empty spaces where the Villain Industries logo was earlier, is one of its biggest trump cards. Incoming, someone shouts back. The large window in front of him explodes, raining glass on those inside. Hound Dog isn't wounded, unlike some of the students in the room and some of the captives. But he is angry. He sees 2 unfamiliar heroes enter the room through the window. One has wings. One seems to have black snakes for hair. Hound Dog doesn't give them time to speak. Instead, he leaps at them. His wounds from the training camp still ache, but he doesn't care about that now. *****. Your prognosis? Overhaul asks Mastermind. They are both observing the events in Japan, on several media channels at once. Way too much for Overhaul to handle, but Mastermind seems to be doing just fine. The coup failed, Mastermind replies. They started extremely well, but the unexpected deployment of the reinforcements on the Commission's side tilted the balance in the government's favor. Gang Orca's assault on the HPSC headquarters has failed, and it appears that the HPSC managed to repulse Hound Dog from the Sweet Dreams agency as well. They both saw Gang Orca being carried out of the building by his sidekicks. Some TV helicopter recorded it from a distance. Gang Orca was badly wounded and not in a shape for further fighting, But whoever he was fighting with didn't seem to be in a shape good enough to pursue him. That or because of the fact that the retreating strike force set fire to the building after deactivating its fire suppression systems. The HPSC headquarters were burning down, and the firefighters refused to show up to what was de facto still a battlefield. Nature of the reinforcements. Overhaul asks. He has patience. Mastermind has been continuously active for many hours. It's just an analysis, rather than commanding skills. But he will need to rest soon. And even now he requires some input from his handler. Previously unregistered heroes, Mastermind replies. Estimated numbers, 200 to 300. Some of them are capable of going toe-to-toe with top 15 heroes. My theory is that they are an army that was raised in secret by the Commission as a trump card in case of a coup or Meta-Liberation Army attack. Trained in secret, probably with some loyalty conditioning if not surgical and pharmacological improvements. Oh, you sneaky bitch. Overhaul is secretly in awe. For how many years was this plan in motion? And no one ever heard a thing. A few more years and she would manage to retake Hokkaido. MLA was capable of holding ground against the forces Japan could spare without becoming an open target for domestic villains, but this new group practically multiplied Japan's available firepower for such an operation. Why did the coup fail? He asked another question. Mastermind's face flinched weirdly for a second before returning to its normal, emotionless state. Miruko can still win, but only if she is ready to go for a full-blown civil war, Mastermind replies. Deployment of the new heroes prevented the coup from eliminating the Commission. In the first series of attacks, President is now in an undisclosed location, from which she can issue orders to her forces that are still active. Rebels have numerical superiority, but are tired. No longer have the informational advantage over the enemy, and have lost the initiative. What's even worse for Miruko is that as time passes, more independent heroes will drift towards the Commission. They are still afraid of the President and have potential revenge spree, and have mostly stayed silent earlier because it looked like she was going to be taken down. Was Miruko ready to fight this battle for days if not weeks, slowly bleeding out the hero Commission? Was Yue ready to let her do that if it meant exposing the country to Overhaul's non-existent mercy? Probably not. 24H Overhaul suspects. If the rebels fail to overthrow the Commission in a single day, Yue will probably step in. It didn't matter which side it would support. The coup and the chaos will be over by then. Your analysis on the next step of our plan, he asks. That's the most important question. Right now, we have to attack, Mastermind replies promptly. Miruko's victory unlikely. If the Commission wins, the new heroes will strengthen its ability to respond to our attack. We should wait for the HPSC to bleed and tire itself out a bit more, and then move in, before the coup officially ends, and while there is still chaos throughout Japan. If we timed it up correctly, the only forces capable of forming a cohesive response to our attack will be the League of Villains and the UA heroes. Those two cooperated with each other, but cooperating in secret and deploying their full forces alongside each other were two entirely different things. Especially when Mr. Compress, a member of the League, something that Overhaul is ready to tell the world if needed, just kidnapped the entire government. And without their entire firepower, they really can't hope to stop what's coming. Marvelous. We're moving out today. Overhaul announces. His staff officers start to move around. This will be a busy day for them all. Asterisk. The Storm Chasers Agency was the site of some of the fiercest and bloodiest battles during the course of the coup. Shishido took it over in the first hour of the fighting, then held his ground during the counterattack. He was eventually forced to retreat from it after the Paragons arrived, only to reclaim the agency 2 hours later once the table's reinforcements arrived. Majority of the building lay in ruin at this point. Surrounding buildings were mostly evacuated, not like someone was in a mind to do that. People fled on their own. The value of the agency building was next to zero at this point, but it was a war between heroes. What else were they supposed to fight over? Actual government offices and streets didn't matter, although the later often become battlefields when groups of heroes loyal to the HPSC and the table run into each other. As a result, hero agencies belonging to both sides become focal points of the fighting. It Wasn't even 30 minutes since Gang Orca repelled the HPSC counterassault on his own agency when a crowd of paragons and heroes arrived at the Storm Chasers agency. This time they came prepared. Most of the attackers were exhausted. The coup started 16 hours ago, and they didn't have a lot of time to recuperate in the meantime. But so were the defenders. And this time the attackers made sure to not leave any exit unguarded, like they did last time. Shishido didn't even try to run. He died, surrounded by a pile of dead paragons. 20 minutes later the Hound Dogs group arrived and retook the Storm Chasers agency, only to immediately abandon it. There was nothing left to fight over. *****. Small Might. Well, shit. Principal, the coup failed. Small Might. I know I did my damn best. Small Might. Shit. Spying Eye. Nobody could expect HPSC pulling out a private army from the president's pocket. Small Might. The fighting is still going, but it's pretty much a stalemate. Small Might. Is the UA ready to intervene in the coup's favor? Principal. I would be willing to. But it's my personal spite talking. Principal. We are the bastion of heroics in its traditional, mostly apolitical meaning. If we join the let's mix politics with heroics gang, we'll practically kill the heroism as a term, at least in Japan. Principal. I'm going to start preparing some legal hijinks to keep as many involved in the coup in the business after it ends, but there is no hope when it comes to the leaders. Small Might. I don't think that there'll be many willing to stay heroes if the commission wins. TBH. Small Might. Well, damn. Small Might. We have something like 4 hours left until the 24H period. Small Might. Hopefully Maruko will find the HPSC command staff hidey hole in the meantime. An overhaul will not intervene. Lie detector. Some heroes just tried to apprehend the Commissioner General for siding with the coup. Lie detector. Police officers on site discouraged them from this, both by the threat of force and by pointing out how nothing that Kenji did was technically illegal. Lie detector. Heroes said that this isn't over and they'll return. Small Might. Vengeful bitch. Principal, I'll start the damage control in 2 hours. *****. Heroes attempting to apprehend the president of the Hero Public Safety Commission have valid reasons for their anger. Nedzu announces from the screen. Many of them served honorably for years if not decades, only to now be treated as second if not third-class heroes by a woman who, since the events in Hosu, has a questionable reputation. I am also unsurprised by many hero trainees joining in, since the law in question would by all intents and purposes bar them from ever becoming heroes. Law that is, to say it simple, discriminatory. Maruko, Gang Orca, and a handful of coup members delegated to serve in its headquarters. Observe the events on the screen. Knuckle Duster sees the room through a video chat. He is elsewhere now, attempting to retake the Scream's agency. For the third time already. All Might, Best Genist, Edshot, and even Crust, oddly enough, are standing behind Nedzu. That adds a certain gravity to the rat's words. As a result, I've decided to call for an official cessation of hostilities. Nedzu continues. Continuing the fighting will only weaken the heroes in Japan, something that we cannot allow to happen in the face of the threat that the Paranormal Liberation Front, the Meta Liberation Army, and the League of Villains are. If both sides will not stand down within an hour and await the return of the legally elected government of Japan for it to judge which side is right, I call all currently neutral heroes to step in and help restore order. Well, there goes our coup. Gang Orca says. He is lying on a large bed, not really up for fighting. Too many ribs broken during his fight against Valiant. We knew that we weren't going to win for at least several hours now. Maruko chuckles bitterly. Not even a single enemy she faced after Hawks got close to being a threat to her. She has only 1 or 2 new wounds. Knuckle Duster, your opinion? I'm a vigilante. The voice from the computer replies. Unlike you, I can't hope to be treated by the government as anything other than a villain who tried to overthrow the government. I'm telling the Alliance forces to disengage and go into hiding. He sighs. We're lost too many people already. As if the government will be merciful towards me. Maruko chuckles again, this time, somehow even more bitterly. Nedzu might defend some rank-and-file rebels, but certainly no one important. And certainly no one who killed someone during the fight. I killed number 2 hero, you know. Gang Orca says nothing. He knows that many of the commission personnel failed to Evacuate the headquarters before the fire swallowed it all. He prefers not to think about it, but he is painfully aware that he and his sidekicks cannot hope for anything other than Tartarus. There is one alternative, if you exclude public suicide, but he loathes it. Plan B then. Miruko adds and turns towards the people gathered in the room. Contact every single member of the table out there. Explain the situation to them. Tell them that whoever can hope for merciful treatment should just go home. The rest, and those who don't want to, rely on the government's mercy, return to the safe houses. Letters describing where you should head to now will be waiting for you there. Table of rejects goes underground. As they move to relay her orders, she pulls out her phone. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Angry Rabbit, table is standing down. Small Might, so, Plan B. Angry Rabbit, yes. Table of Rejects is officially requesting to be allowed to join the League of Villains as its subsidiary. I also request to join the League itself. Small Might, both requests accepted. Small Might, you'll see the day when the president of the HPSC pays for her crimes and this country stops hating your kind. Small Might, I promise you that much. It would be nice to be able to be this optimistic. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Akatani Mikumo, anyone there? Sawa Tokeo, kinda. Sawa Tokeo, we're going underground for a while. Sawa Tokeo, also I can barely write because I almost got burned to death. Shit. Akatani Mikumo, OOF. Akatani Mikumo, can you ask your big boss if the Vigilante Alliance is willing to become the League of Villains subsidiary group? Sawa Tokeo, are you serious? Sawa Tokeo, we are literally hostiles, even now. Sawa Tokeo, vigilantes and villains are enemies by definition. Akatani Mikumo, I know. Akatani Mikumo, I'm not going to tell you to stop hunting Legion's other subsidiaries. Akatani Mikumo, but Legion is a great fan of Knuckle Duster. He was a late bloomer and Knuckle Duster kicks ass without a quirk so. Akatani Mikumo, the general idea is that you will retain access to the exchange and the villain industries as regular potential clients, without said groups telling other villains what you are doing with them. Akatani Mikumo, you are still allowed to do your vigilante things, and League will react to your operations like it does to any other attack on its facilities. Akatani Mikumo, you're also not expected to share details about your operations unlike the regular members. Akatani Mikumo, in exchange the League will help if the Hero Commission overhaul Destro are against you, not regular heroes though, and will occasionally give you tips where to find our irritating underground competition and so on. Sawa Tokeo, I'll ask. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Spying eye, this day, could have gone better. Is on me, I'll probably end up having to step down as the underground network leader. Is on me, after half of my co-workers just staged a coup behind my back, my competence will be called into question. Is on me at Nap Needed willing to take this mess over if I marry you. Nap Needed, I'm willing to do that, but if you don't marry me. Is on me, Principal at Small Might so, what are your gains in all of that? Principal, I think we established already that you benefit from every outcome of the coup. Small Might, Table of Rejects and the Vigilante Alliance have officially become subsidiary groups of the League of Villains, although the latter under a rather specific set of rules. Ninja, I should be surprised. But I'm not. Tintin can, of course. Principal, oh dear. Small Might, whoever wasn't interested in being at the government's mercy will continue fighting against said government, but under rules similar to QEM. So no mass killings, and, in general only attacking actually legal targets. It will take the table a while to start organizing itself in any way, though. They took a beating. Small Might, I'm secretly rather happy that the commission killed Shishido, because I'm like 99% sure he would join the Inhuman Supremacy Party. Small Might, like many of the Kill Them ALL faction of the table will. Small Might, what about the post-coup cleanup? Principal, the president seems unwilling to fight against All Might and me in her current state, so it seems that her new toys, paragons it seems, are standing down. The table forces are doing the same. Principal, even the missing UA students are back, though Hound Dog is suspiciously absent. Principal, I don't expect to see him again, save for the wanted posters. At least until we manage to take the HPSC down and get some reasonable government to do a general amnesty. Small Might, I should probably find him and hire him as League's exclusive therapist. Sigh. Tintin can, this is actually a very good idea. all things considered. Small might. In the meantime, we can only hope. Small might, and probably plan another coup idk. Tintin can, one is enough. Small might, I was already thinking on how to make the second one better. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Demon Lord, really? A coup? And you had your mother help you in that? Izuku, I didn't exactly start it, just gave it a fighting chance. I really dislike the HPSC, did I? Mention that already. Demon Lord, a few times. Or maybe a few thousand times. Demon Lord, I kind of expected to be, informed about it. Rather than learn of it. From the TV. Demon Lord, also, it failed. Unless you were prepared for this outcome as well. Izuku, I was. The majority of the forces involved in the coup have just swore their fealty to me, which, in case of the coup failing, might or might not have been my demand for the help. Demon Lord. Demon Lord, okay, I didn't see that coming. Demon Lord, so Miruko, Gang Orca and Knuckle Duster of all people are now working for you. Izuku, Knuckle Duster is a bit of a complicated situation. But as a whole, yes. Demon Lord, did I ever mention that I'm incredibly proud of you? Izuku, a few times. Or maybe a few dozen times. Demon Lord, it's barely a year since you started your career as a villain properly and you now have enough firepower to be a major threat to the government. If not its equal. Demon Lord, so of course I'm extremely proud of you and need to say that as often as I can. Izuku, use all that charm on Mom, I'd like another sibling. Izuku, GTG. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Mastermind and his command post departed first. Together with one of the three Eclipse copies that Overhaul created. Discovery that identical warp quirks do not interfere with each other, or, to be exact, that the range of warp interference is pitifully small, was a great and useful one. Mastermind lodged himself somewhere deep in Japan, but with a good internet connection. He needed to coordinate 15 different strike teams, each supposed to attack a different target at a more or less same time. Not to mention the evacuation bit, it was going to be a logistical nightmare. The second part of his force to depart were said strike teams, each composed of a single, purified, few dozen former QLF troopers, a crowd of villains from subsidiary groups of the PLF and a handful of first and second gen Numas. They were tasked with attacking 15 notable prisons throughout Japan in order to stage one of the greatest mass breakouts in the history of mankind. They were, in the end, distractions. Useful ones, but distractions. Oh, their success was almost certain, and the liberated villains would sow chaos as the Paranormal Liberation Front intended. But it wasn't a necessity for the next stage of the PLF's grand strategy to be a resounding success. Overhaul's army, no other words could describe it at this point, was the last group to depart. Close to 7,000 QLF soldiers. 75 first-gen Numas. 10 second-gen Numas. 9 third-gen Numas. 100 purified. Dozens of pieces of heavy military hardware, donated so generously by the quirkless liberation groups worldwide. It was going to be enough for their target. Probably. He was about to assault the most guarded location in the world, or at the very least in Asia. It was going to be bloody, but he was all right. With bloody. He stepped through the warp gate among the first ones. Transporting his entire army was going to take dozens of minutes. Hours, maybe. He had to be here, to command the Vanguard. Vanguard that should be enough to realize most of the objective, in all honesty. The rest of the army was going to be there to respond to the unavoidable intervention of the League of Villains and the UA. They were going to show up a few minutes after the alarm was sounded. But it didn't matter. He was going to warp in his entire army and then engage dozens of portable warp coordinate scramblers. Enough to make the entire region impossible to be warped to. Needing to rush towards him from the outside of the afflicted area should buy him enough time. Throughout the country, prisons for the most dangerous villains are attacked almost simultaneously. Heroes' response is delayed. Many of them think that it's part of the coup at first, and it takes them precious minutes to sortie after they understand that it's not this. So, this is Tartarus. Overhaul says, while calmly observing the unassailable fortress in front of him. The house of several thousands of the most violent and dangerous criminals not only from Japan but also from many other countries. The world's most secure prison. Spreading this amalgamation of diseases among the general population is against his principles. But he'll do it this time. He needs to. This day will be the last one in the history of Japan. Chapter end notes. Well, you certainly can't say that Overhaul doesn't plan big. Also yeah, you're about to. Find out WTF the Purified are. https://archivo4on.org/works/38418532/chapters/96322651. Check my newest. Fic if you have time. It needs some love, tongue sticking out. Chapter summary. Tartarus. PLF's attacks on the Tartarus prison. The heroes and the League scramble to respond. The result is most unexpected. Chapter notes. 2000 kudos people. You know the rules and so do I. It's bonus. Release time. Most likely the last one in the history of this fic, because we all know that we won't make it to 3000 kudos before the conclusion. See the end of the chapter for more. Notes. Tartarus is a special place. There is no other location like that in the world. There are many inescapable prisons for the worst of the worst, or, in some unfortunate countries, for the best of the best. But there is just a single Tartarus. The bulk of the facility is located 1 kilometer off the coast of Japan. Only the uppermost layer extends over the waters. The remaining 3 are under it or, in case of the third one, are located under the bottom of the sea. The surface layer is the biggest one. It houses close to 7,000 A-rank villains, and some choice B ranks whose crimes were sufficiently terrible. It has several blocks, concentrated around the central spire, which is a fortress within a fortress. It's 20 meters. Tall walls made from the hardest materials that Japan had access to house the command center of the entire prison, barracks for the wardens, on-site hospital, and enough weapons and combat robots to wage and win a small war. It's not often, but sometimes one of the inmates from this level gets to leave the prison. Save. For a single block, the one for the most insane and deadly of the A-rankers, the uppermost layer is a simple, if high security, prison. There are quirk suppressors and ever watchful wardens, but the inmates get to stretch their legs a bit. There are no such privileges for those housed in the segments hidden under the surface, save for some choice exceptions, typically brought by extremely good behavior and some attenuating circumstances. The first underwater segment houses 1,074 S-rank villains, including a bit more than 100 of those from Japan, the United States, Korea, the Siberian Federation, and even the European Alliance. To a smaller degree, all contributed to the number. Tartarus is the world's highest security prison, and Japan bought a lot of political favors by taking in inmates from the other countries. Beneath that level lies the second underwater segment, this time housing 224 SS-rank villains, with 22 from that number being Japanese. Villains of this rank are typically executed after capture, just like majority of S ranks. But there are some for whom execution is seen as a form of mercy they do not deserve, and some who are seen as not deserving death for exactly opposite reasons. Their accommodation on this level varies greatly, but not the security tightness around their cells. Situation of the 72 SSS rank villains housed in the underground level of Tartarus is similar, although only 12 of those are Japanese, almost uniformly former all-for-ones. Lieutenants captured by the All Might during his long war against his fated nemesis. The entire facility is defended by 2,000 wardens, 75 heroes stationed there, permanently, and numerous combat robots and automatic security measures. Wardens and heroes alike come from multiple countries and have their past screened with extreme attention to details. Even the slightest sign of past misbehavior is enough for the head warden to refuse an application. But that's merely a single part of the Tartarus defenses. The waters surrounding are permanently patrolled by a detachment of the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force. Sonars constantly scan the underwater for any signs of an attack. Ships themselves are armed to the teeth with both conventional weaponry and water-oriented heroes, and only give the approaching ships a single warning before annihilating them if they do not change their course. The only alternative way of accessing the prison are 2-kilometer-long bridges connecting the facility with the mainland. However, there is another layer of defense there. An escapee that would manage to cross the bridge would have found himself in the middle of the last remaining base of the ground forces of the JSDF, surrounded by 10,000 soldiers, armed with the best of the conventional weaponry that was created before quirks made those obsolete, And it's not like it was just a normal military base, as it would be understood by someone from a centuries past. Like Tartarus itself, the entire base was a labyrinth of concrete and steel, overseen by the automatic gun turrets and artillery towers. Less a base and more a massive and interconnected network of bunkers, designed to force the enemy forces to divide itself between core bastions, and then whittle their numbers in numerous killing fields. Tartarus was designed to withstand every imaginable assault. Unfortunately, the one that Overhaul organized was anything but imaginable. *****. The first thing that happened was the technopathic attack. This time performed not by a single trigger-boosted quirk bearer, but by 20 trigger-boosted quirk bearers. The Tartarus security was naturally improved after the training camp battle, but not to this degree. Throughout the facility, the security gates opened up, automatic turrets went high-wire and opened fire on the Allies. Artillery turrets exploded due to induced mishandling of its ammo stockpiles. The communication networks died down. Robots began to rampage and hundreds of cells stood wide open, unleashing the monsters imprisoned inside. Not all of them had their quirk suppressor disabled, and even then the overwhelming majority of the escapees were from the A-rank block. But it still occupied the attention of the wardens. Just as PLF's main forces emerged from the forest surrounding the JSDF base, artillery rounds began to rain on it, just as dozens of tanks, some made according to designs that predated the birth of quirks, rolled towards the concrete walls of the fortress. Accompanied by the numerous turrets and towers that survived the technopathic attack returned fire. Ships in the distance began to launch sea-to-ground missiles. The battle started. Tanks and numerous were a good distraction. Defenders of the outer walls of Tartarus didn't notice Overhaul himself and 100 of his purified marching behind the first line of attack. Until it was too late. Nedzu didn't expect to have his day interrupted by a phone call. Especially not from the president of the HPSC. And even more especially not right now, when he was busy trying to clean up after the unfortunately failed coup. He entertained the idea of not answering it. His day was already pretty bad at this point. Sure, throwing expletives at that which would be enjoyable, but having to hear her voice. Was it really worth it? He was way too busy trying to find a way to protect people like Tsuyu Asui from going to jail for doing the right thing, due to the very person that was now calling him. In the end, he picks it up. He isn't sure why. "What is it, you?" he chirps in, only to be brutally interrupted. Overhaul is attacking villain prisons everywhere. The president shouts at him in an obvious panic. Nedzu freezes even before his mind computes the words. The tone itself, it's something he never heard. It's something he never expects her to use in public, and especially when contacting her archenemy, including Tartarus. "Send everyone you have, now." Oh dear. Izuku is busy telling his younger brother that he will meet his idol soon. Acer is overjoyed but also worried. Then again, when exactly he isn't worried? When the message comes. "Principal, emergency sortie." "Principal, Overhaul is attacking no less than 15 high security prisons throughout Japan. Principal, including Tartarus." Well, shit. Izuku's panic reaches new heights when they gather up only to discover that the nearest place where Kurogiri can drop anyone is 15 kilometers away from Tartarus. It takes him, Nedzu and Sir Nightai 5 minutes of intense internet debate to agree on a plan. All Might, Lemillion, Edge Shot, Best Genist, Crust and every single member of the UA faculty, sans Lunch Rush and Power Loader, are warped to the edge of the warp coordinate. Scramblers range together with some cars. All Might and Lemillion rush ahead, faster than conventional vehicles, while the rest follows suit. Neither group gets very far before they encounter the PLF's rearguard, including several 3rd Gen Numas. Izuku is waiting impatiently for Power Loader, Gremlin, and David's shield to succeed in their own operation. Kayoshiyuki is a relic. He knows about it. He is the Lieutenant General in charge of the 1st Division of the Ground Self-Defense Forces of Japan, which makes him the commanding officer of the entire GSDF, because at this point it's just that single division. He is fairly sure that after he retires, or dies, the whole thing will be disbanded. He is also quirkless. A relic in another way, man who climbed high in the time when the quirkless weren't discriminated against that badly. His combat experience is minimal, but he fought tooth and nail to keep his forces in reasonable combat preparedness. There were many exercises. He knows the theory and trained the practice a lot. He knows that this battle is hopeless. The walls held against the enemy vanguard. The second wave was unstoppable, however. He has no idea what those damnable things are, but they tore through the walls like they were made from paper. He saw one of them tear off a tank's turret with its bare hands. He saw another stand after getting hit directly by an artillery turret. He doesn't think that the defenders managed to destroy. Kill is too weak of a word for abomination like those, even if they look like humans, even a single one of those. Now they were tearing through the base, followed by the regular infantry and the numus. Those could be resisted, but the monstrosities left only dead, wounded and scattered soldiers in their wake. His soldiers did their best. This wasn't enough, and the support fire from the ships was growing thin as they were sunk or forced to retreat by the enemy artillery. The battle is hopeless, but he still has a duty to uphold, and a history to end in a way that will make him feel ashamed to stand in front of his ancestors and predecessors. He contacts his best friend, the head warden of Tartarus, and tells him that he will buy him as much time as possible. Then he says his last words to his soldiers through whatever remains of the base communication network and gathers his command unit before leading it into combat. The 1st Division of the Japanese Ground Self-Defense Force stops existing as an organized fighting force 10 minutes later. Out of 10,000 soldiers that participated in the battle, close to half died while the rest were either overlooked by the enemy or managed to escape. Takeno Ryu, the head warden of Tartarus, has no time to grieve. He knows that help is coming. He knows that All Might is battling it out there, but he sees the army storming the facility. Army that stands between the prison and the rescue force. All Might is powerful, indomitable, but he is alone, or with only a handful of other heroes. They will not get to Tartarus in time. The technopathic attack has already deactivated Tartarus warp scramblers. The enemy can simply warp the rescued prisoners from the prison. The only warp scramblers left are those of the PLF, and they are set to not interfere with their warpers. Thousands of quirkless soldiers in exchange for thousands of high-ranking criminals. He would make that trade if he was overhaul. The PLF will use their main forces to distract the relief force long enough, even if it will have to send them out as suicide bombers. Takeno Ryu wishes that he had other options, but he has none. Not today. Not when the heroes throughout the country just bled themselves almost dry. He blows up the bridges connecting the Tartarus with the mainland, trying not to think of the soldiers that were fleeing through it. PLF Vanguard was there too, which made it slightly less painful. Then he switches on the intercom. This is the head warden speaking. He says. His voice is calm and collected, although internally he is screaming. He doesn't want to do it. He would have killed himself on the spot. If could have stopped what's coming. Code Red. Tartarus under attack by an overwhelming force. Perspective of reinforcements unlikely. Purge protocol in effect. I take full responsibility. 30 seconds later, the entire segment of the prison inhabited by SSS rank villains is flooded. 7-2 monsters to equal overhaul drowned to death during the next few minutes. Segments for S and SS ranks villains are already too influenced by the overhauls. Technopods for their automatic purge systems to work. They're the wardens need to get their hands dirty. Overhaul is furious when his hacking unit tells him about the wardens starting to purge the prison. This wasn't part of the plan. He heard whispers that this was an option. He just never expected the government to actually do it. To kill thousands of prisoners to deny them freedom. He is always surprised when someone equals him in ruthlessness. He injects himself with enough of his special trigger and overhauls what's left of the bridge, connecting Tartarus to the mainland, this time with no hidden explosives. He has his purified storm forward, crossing the almost kilometer distance in several seconds. His warpers move strike teams to the A-rank blocks, circumnavigating the fortress defenses entirely. He learned something about tactical usage of the warp quirks from Legion's exploits. They overwhelm their defenders through a surprise attack and begin to warp the rescued inmates to one of the many mustering grounds throughout Japan. ****. We found it. Gremlin shouts while running into the room. On her face a mixture of pride and happiness. I have the coordinates. Sir Night Eye and Nedzu said that if Overhaul is attacking the Tartarus directly, then he certainly isn't the overall commander of this operation. They hope to trace the PLF's base through that, but judging from the coordinates leading to a place in Japan, chances were minimal. Kurogiri warps the entire league, sans Maruko, who is yet to be invited to the base, right in front of the Mastermind's command post. Seeing them emerge from the blackness is the last push. Mastermind runs away, screaming in terror and guilt as his compatriots are slaughtered mercilessly. *****. All Might and Lemillion finally manage to dispose of the third-gen Numis. They know that. They are fighting against brainwashed children. This dampens these punches and limits their strength. They both know they shouldn't. They know that if Tartarus is broken wide, the results will be disastrous. But even then, they can't. They are heroes. They need to save people, and they have victims of some of the most horrible crimes known to mankind in front of them. They incapacitate the Numis. It isn't easy when each of them is carrying multiple quirks. Two seem to be children of Gigantomachia, at least judging from insane physical strength and endless endurance. But they lack training that can be used against them. Once that happens, the 2-1-for-all users rush towards the Tartarus prison. They arrive 5 minutes too late. *****. Do you like them? Overhaul asks as he enters the Tartarus command headquarters. I call them the Purified. 4 of those monstrosities enter the room through the hole in the wall behind him. Head Warden is lying on the ground, his leg impaled on a spike that emerged from the floor when Overhaul touched it. His command staff is either dead, dying or fled. Turns out, that if you scrape quirks out of people, you can use their quirk. Factors for so many interesting things. Overhaul decides to gloat. Just a small injection. Before the battle, and they can use multiple quirks temporarily. Less a strain than permanent quirks. I can give them, whatever quirks I want them to, for as long as I have access to, Garaki's quirk samples, or fresh blood. Overhaul laughs lightly and sickly. What you witnessed today was muscular muscle augmentation for strength and endurance, moonfish teeth manipulation for interpersonnel attacks, and, Wolfram's metal manipulation to tear through the walls, tanks, and turrets at ease, multiplied by 100, and further boosted with carefully selected doses of my special trigger. Congratulations. Head Warden chuckles bitterly. Continue your villain monologue in hell. Overhaul doesn't stop him from drawing his gun. Head Warden puts its barrel to his own temple and pulls the trigger. Only the Head Warden of the Tartarus and the President of the Hero Commission are aware of the last failsafe of the Tartarus prison, one that is to be used only in the direst of circumstances. Established because if the prison was ever opened fully, Japan and everyone in it would be doomed, together with the large part of Asia. When an implant in the Head Warden's heart announces that his heartbeat stopped, something connects to the Tartarus network. It immediately confirms that Code Red was announced, that the Purge Protocol was in effect and that less than 50% of Wardens were still alive. Then it activates something else. Overhaul is still wondering why the Head Warden didn't try to shoot him when the 15-kiloton nuclear warhead placed directly under the Tartarus command center explodes, incinerating him and everyone else in the prison. *****. All Might and Lemillion gawk in shock when the Tartarus prison ceases to exist. The unleashed energy is strong enough to topple them both when it reaches them. The remaining PLF soldiers and the survivors of the 1st Division are way less lucky. They can only wonder what happened to Overhaul. And how many prisoners did the PLF manage to evacuate before the explosion? Thousands. *****. They eventually managed to corner Mastermind after chasing him through a few buildings. He is in clear panic. Izuku finds it odd, considering what Incense told him about him, and is quite fast on his feet. That alone wouldn't be enough. They are The League of Villains, an assortment of some of the most dangerous people in Japan. But the Mastermind's command post was guarded. Imagine a S-rank serial killer and the head of the House of Red, with a powerful quirk, allowing him to animate tattoos and drawings, and he was prepared for an attack. Pain and Infection, an A and S ranks left from the Creature Rejection clan. Several A rankers from House of Red and a crowd of CRC soldiers. This is a massacre. Not entirely one-sided. If not Izuku carrying Overhaul's quirk, they would have lost toxicity and perhaps Spinner. To this day Izuku has no idea why All for One identifies Overhaul as a Class 5 quirk rather than Class 6 one. But even then, it's a lengthy massacre. Mastermind would have probably managed to escape if they didn't have a Wu. Mastermind was bleeding, another thing that Izuku found odd. They didn't wound him, so why? And that made tracking him easier. Mastermind looks barely older than Izuku. He is panting heavily, cornered in a half-finished building. He is unlikely to jump through the nearest window. This is a 4th floor. They chased him up here, so this is the end of his road. He is still clutching a revolver. He has nasty scratch wounds on his wrists. Something is wrong, Izuku decides. Mastermind doesn't look like a man who blew up 30 of his own men to kill, however temporarily, Kurogiri. He raises his hand. Stain and Mr. Compress halt their advance. Mastermind stares at them all. Invisible horror. Izuku needs time to unpack what's happening. He refuses to rush in blindly. Gun technically isn't that much of a problem, unless Mastermind is a snipe-level marksman and puts a bullet between Izuku's eyes. But Stain is in the right position and Izuku is certain that if Mastermind raises the gun, Stain will step between him and Legion. Mastermind looks terrified, guilty and on the verge of crying. Guilty. Why guilty? Puzzles fail into the right places. Izuku is equally shocked and disgusted. Purity is dead, but in moments like these he wishes that Asa didn't kill her. She missed Legion's personal anger. Management session with her as a guest star. It's your quirk, right? Izuku asks. Mastermind's head perks up. It makes you smarter, but also emotionless. Ready to sacrifice people you care about to achieve your goals. He can see tears on his cheeks. Mastermind nods scarcely. He looks to be too emotional to be able to speak. For how many hours was he using his quirk? Observing the coup and analyzing it for Overhaul. And then overseeing the logistics of the biggest mass prison breakout in the history of the world. At some point, even if Overhaul used his trigger on him, he must have reached the point where his quirk shut down on itself, freeing the man that it kept imprisoned. For who knows how long. Probably at least partially thanks to the shock that was the League's arrival. Izuku saw his face for a split second after that, still emotionless and with vacant eyes, before Mastermind suddenly turned his back on them and started to flee. Purity had Infection handle him for the time being, because Mastermind never truly wanted to be the head of the CRC. He was extremely useful as a commander, but needed a handler to keep him straight. She probably hoped that if he killed enough people for her, he would finally come around and accept her and the CRC, if only due to having no other option at this point. Hating someone who is already dead is rarely not a pointless endeavor, unless the object of your anger is Overhaul. But Izuku still feels alright hating her. I know someone with a very special quirk, Mastermind. Izuku says, trying to sound as non-threateningly as possible. He even kneels a bit, just to make himself look less intimidatingly. If he even looks intimidating. Sources are conflicted. Someone who can take and give quirks. He can take yours and give you some normal one. He can save you from this. Just please, put down your gun. He talks about himself. He doesn't know how much Overhaul told Mastermind about Izuku's quirk, so he comes with some unspecified third person. He certainly isn't giving his father a quirk that, when activated, will change him into a super genius with even less care for others. He isn't suicidal. He forgot that he isn't facing Mastermind now. Mastermind would have analyzed available data in a few seconds and decided that Izuku is probably honest. But the young adult or teenager, 16 to 18, hard to say, in front of him isn't a super genius, but someone who was exploited for his quirk and forced to do horrible things. And now, he feels he is about to be forced to do even more horrible things with his quirk, just by different people. Izuku curses himself for not asking Mind's crew to find a way to make Mastermind talk in order to trap him with Hitoshi's quirk. He screams and lunges forward when Mastermind puts the gun in his mouth and pulls the trigger. He doesn't make it in time, obviously. No, Izuku is furious. At Purity, at Mastermind, and at everyone else. He is just furious in general. This isn't ending like that. Izuku. Stain is trying to say something, But Izuku doesn't care. He approaches Mastermind's lifeless body and overhauls him back to life. Then he kicks the gun away, just in case the Mastermind's quirk kicked back and somehow interfered with the post-death vacant state. It did. Mastermind has a weird look on his face, but still tries to lunge towards the gun. 2. Kill himself again or to defend himself. Probably the latter. Izuku pins him to the ground and breaks his limbs with his quirk. Mastermind stops struggling. He knows he lost. He is probably calculating ways of influencing them with his words, or how to make them recruit him instead of executing him. Izuku doesn't care about that. I don't give a shit about your opinion on this, Mastermind. Izuku says, anger visible on his face. I decided that I'm going to save you, so I am going to save you. Don't you fucking dare resist. He turns his head towards Stain. Carry him back. Izuku is tired. Not in the right state to steal a quirk against someone whose willpower is probably boosted by his quirk. He will do that tomorrow. He sincerely hopes that the Tartarus battle ended up as good as his attack on Mastermind's command post, but he is almost certain that reality isn't as nice as he would like it to be. Chapter end notes. You didn't expect that to happen like 8 chapters before the end of the story, hey? You can expect a period of lull and the reveal of mysterious Maruko ship in the next chapter, before we start the last ride of this story. The last arc. Chapter summary. Peace. Reactions to Overhaul's demise. Maruko mystery ship arrives. Mastermind is dealt with. A ghost from Shinsu's past returns from the dead and is very, very confused. Chapter notes. 1 day earlier release because I'm bored. See the end of the chapter for more. Notes. The list of Japanese supervillains, updated after the Battle of Tartarus. SSS rank. Redestro, Meta Liberation Army. Legion, League of Villains. Mr. Compress, Levelers, Love. SS rank. Beast, Inhuman Supremacy Party, PLF. Gigantomachia, League of Villains. Mischief, Levelers, Love. Gremlin, Villain Industries, Love. Maruko, Table of Rejects, a Love. Stain, League of Villains. Knuckle Duster, Vigilante Alliance. S rank. Geeton, Meta Liberation Army. Slidden Go, Meta Liberation Army. Sunset, Quirkless Equality Movement, Love. Vantablack, Exchange, Love. Mines Crew, League of Villains. Lady Nagant, Vigilante Alliance. Gang Orca, Table of Rejects, Love. Kurogiri, Villain Academy, Love. Twice, Levelers, Love. Asterisk. Overhaul is dead. Izuku stares at the words on the TV and is trying to comprehend what he is seeing. Overhaul. His arch-nemesis, and not in the friendly way like he has it with Lemillion, hugged a nuclear bomb and was now traveling with a police convoy down the highway to hell, because in Izuku's opinion, even demons if they existed were rather wary of Kaichisaki. He pressed the head warden of Tartarus enough for him to nuke himself and everything in the vicinity. The last reports from the prison suggested that the PLF failed to breach the S-rank block, much less those placed deeper. The estimates of A-rank villains that the PLF got out varied between dozens and thousands, but those were villains, not supervillains. Dangerous enough for the state of emergency to be proclaimed throughout the country, not fully legally. Mr. Compress still didn't give the government back, and for heroes to be on a watch out. But if even the S-rank prison was breached, much less the deeper segments of Tartarus, the current chaos would be amplified tenfold. He is still standing there, dazed, when the new villain rankings are announced. Almost all active supervillains are working for him. The only exception is the Meta Liberation Army. Probably his another target, because Gremlin, and the sole remaining notable head of the Paranormal Liberation Front-aligned group, Beast. His mom was now an SS-rank villain. She was probably happy and proud from her one-time gig, unless she was already planning to occasionally join Mr. Compress further performances. That was an option. Izuku was 99% sure that her old fan clubs just sprung back to life. What followed was a long list of incarcerated, killed, or promoted A-rank villains. Rabbit almost fell down the couch when he heard that he is now an A-rank villain. Toxicity and Juggernaut were classified like that as well. In fact, no active member of the League wasn't at least an A-ranker. It was unbelievable. Did we? Izuku manages to speak in the resulting silence. Did we just win the war? And did he just become a symbol of evil? He still had to deal with the MLA and some remnants of the PLF, but other than that, he should probably do something about the UA. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Small might, OMG. Small might, did we just win? Principal, the casualties are nothing sort of horrible and the criminal activity will no doubt skyrocket, but the MLA is the only remaining group capable and willing of waging a regular war against the country. Principal, so, yes? Tin Can, end of an alliance? Small might, don't be so hasty, Lemillion. Small might, he already died once and we have potentially thousands of A-rankers everywhere, who might or might not reform themselves into some new large group, reorganize the PLF as a whole. Small might, I suggest working on our own from now on, but maintaining this communication channel plus 1 month-long extension on the non-aggression treaty between the League and the UA. Principal, I believe that I speak for everyone when I agree to that. Small might, let's figure out what sort of fallout we're dealing with, and then decide what we all do next. Tin Can, was that a pun? Small might, what? Small might, fallout. Small might, shit, not intentional. Tin Can, good, too many people died to make fun of it. Tin Can, I'm tired. And probably slightly irradiated. Tin Can, off to recovery girl. Small might, I feel bad for her. She has to deal with the weirdest of damages known to mankind in her line of work. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. I have committed an ultimate mistake. Izuku deadpans, half sitting and half lying on a couch in the living room. He is truly done with the world. It's not that bad. Acer is there, trying his best to cheer him up. Rabbit knows what's the reason for Izuku being on the verge of dying. He is only a bit less close to said verge himself, but he is still doing his best for his older brother. 2 days passed since the Tartarus battle. The world outside was surprisingly peaceful, if you exclude the occasional radiation alerts when changing winds carried clouds of irradiated dust over some city. What happened? It's Derby, oddly enough. The room is mostly empty, it's evening already, so people either went to sleep earlier or are still recovering from the last battle. I invited Miruko and showed her the headquarters. Izuku replies, she likes our training room, especially when I mentioned how I can resurrect people if they die there, and our little rabbit can cure exhaustion. She has been inside with Stain for 17 hours straight, and I'm slowly dying on the inside from quirk exhaustion. Well, we're officially fucked then. Derby announces after a few seconds of stunned silence. Yeah, I should probably tell them to stop. Izuku sighs and closes his eyes. Or invite Rapper and Knuckle Duster before those two get murder-married in there or something. Actually, could you go and ask them to stop in my STE? He opens his eyes to see that Derby is no longer there. Well, fuck you, Derby. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Small might, pretty please. Maximiruko, did you just fucking ask me to be your adopted aunt? Small might, League is one big and just slightly fucked up family. Small might, I need to figure out where you are on our family tree. Small might, also Minamiruko needs some positive influences from his family. Small might, also I don't have an aunt since Thunderbolt killed the one from my mother's side. Maximiruko, I regret certain decisions. Small might, OOF. Maximiruko, you know, alright. I'll fucking do it. Small might, yes. Maximiruko, I'm going to be the best motherfucking aunt you can imagine. Small might, Minamiruko will be overjoyed. Small might, also I talked with Rapper. He is looking forward to your visit to his fight club. Maximiruko, he has a fight club? Small might, yeah, but its first rule is to not talk about it. Maximiruko, did you seriously just fucking reference that film on me? Small might, I knew you watched it. Small might, also I'm a villain so I'm breaking rules and so on. Maximiruko, wait a fucking second. Maximiruko, you wanted to bribe me with Fight Club if I didn't agree to being your adopted aunt. Small might, yes and T. Maximiruko. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Mastermind resisted the quirk-stealing procedure with all his might. In all honesty, this was way harder than what Izuku did to Eclipse. But Legion was a patient supervillain. After 30 minutes of struggles, he was left alone with a sobbing young man, finally freed from the quirk that changed his life into hell. In all honesty, it didn't have to be like that. The quirk was a full-blown Class 5 intelligence quirk. In a way, it changed Mastermind's brain into a living supercomputer. All He needed was someone who was less of a dick as a handler, and he wouldn't grow to hate it. And if there was a person next to him that would teach him how to control it and switch it on and off, well, water under the bridge now. Izuku decided that he isn't going to risk activating that quirk. He was way too powerful to risk going into an emotionless and goal-focused genius mode. What if the living computer? Mastermind never named it, so he did make him decide that someone from the League is a threat and would make him commit a murder on a family member. He decided to hand it to someone already dying, from natural causes. For example, Overhaul's quirk can't handle old age. Probably in exchange for their quirk to let the living computer die. When Mastermind calmed down a bit, Izuku had a long and serious talk. In the end, the League got a new member with an old quirk, and probably some much-needed villain. Name change. *****. Smallest might. Just gave someone your quirk. Think fast 12. Oh? Someone I know. Smallest might. Nope. Smallest might. But he had a really ugly and debilitating natural quirk, so I went for a quick switcheroo. Smallest might. Also he is Zealot's younger brother. Think fast 12. Awesome. Think fast 12. I really like slow-mo, you know? Smallest might. Gives you even more time to create crazy conspiracy theories on a spot. Musty. Think fast 12. Hate grows. Smallest might. Cultivate it and get ready for harvest. *****. Split didn't like the Paranormal Liberation Front. Let's be honest, the majority of Japan probably didn't like it. Sure, they saved her from the Tartarus and warped her out of it before someone apparently fucking nuked the place. But they were clearly an utterly deranged band of ugly fucknuggets, and she didn't like the look Beast gave her. His tastes were well known. Especially when you were a former pro-hero. Okay, just a provisional license, but it was almost the real deal, right? Things went to hell like a week before she was going to get her real license. She read the police reports. She expected someone to stop her, but the PLF-owned camp hidden in the middle of nowhere was barely guarded. She just walked out of it and somehow managed to find her way to the nearest town. She wasn't that much known, and the government still wasn't sure who survived the big boom. There were thousands of new wanted posters. It was easy to vanish in the crowd, like 2/3 of which were probably in irradiated dust at this point. Split sneaked around the town for a while, enough to swipe someone's phone and search the internet for a while. She was away for 2 years. What the hell happened to Japan in the meantime? Endeavor, Thunderbolt, Shishido, and Hawks dead. Miruko and Gang Orca were now villains. She only recognized them, Mr. Compress, Beast, and the MLA members from the list of supervillains. What happened to Eclipse? To Purity. Also, Mischief was back and as an SS rank villain. And Mr. Compress was an SSS rank. What do you need to steal to become an SSS rank? Through bloodless thievery. She Googled it. The first article that came up was President of the HPSC negotiates with Mr. Compress. When will the supervillain return the National Diet Building and the Japanese government? Umphed. Mr. Compress stole the government. Yeah, that explained the designation. They would probably make him an SSSS rank villain if such a rank existed. And the third remaining SSS rank villain was apparently an underage emperor of the Underworld. Did the nuclear blast catch her during the warp and she was mysteriously propelled through the multiverse and landed in a completely different, and bats hit crazy, world? She scrolled down the list of the supervillains, trying to figure out what the hell is the League of Villains. Oh, apparently the Legion's organization. Yeah, that explains the Emperor of the Underworld part. Split almost trips when she sees Mind's crew photo. It's Toshi. Hitoshi Shinsu is a supervillain. His list of villainous deeds includes murder of no less than 40 people, plus an indirect murder of a similar number. Apparently he was a commander of the Vanguard Action Squad of the League of Villains, Legion's personal attack dog unit. All victims were apparently villains, save for his family. What the hell? Well, she can probably understand the last bit. They kinda had it coming. She isn't going to lie. Especially as she landed in Tartarus before she managed to gather the evidence and arrest them for what they did to Toshi. He probably got someone else to believe him through the internet. Someone who wasn't a hero. Well, fuck. She checks out her old social media. She has a very recent message from him, telling her that if she escaped Tartarus, then, Well, maybe she'll get to ask him about what the hell happened when she was away. In person. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Clown uncle, I have concluded the negotiations. Small Might, OH. Insomniac, what did you get? Clown uncle, 300 billion yen paid to several known charity organizations, up front, and then calling off that atrocious register of villainous quirks and complex mutants, and the law in general. Oh, and they will look the other way when I'll be filming my spectacular autobiography, plus the trilogy of films about Legion's life, when the right time comes. Small Might, you do realize that you won't get anything other than the money though. Small Might, since they'll have the government and the national diet back. Clown uncle, oh you poor unbeliever. Clown uncle, I possess the ultimate argument. Small Might, oh? Clown uncle, in exchange for them keeping their word, I will not try to test how many twice clones I need to steal Tokyo. Small Might, OMFG. Insomniac, Jesus Christ XD. Vampire Princess, XDDDDDDDDDDDD. Vantablack, oh dear XD. Small Might, I have created a monster. Clown uncle, maybe, but a truly sublime and wonderful monster. Small Might, okay that's true. Clown uncle, yeah. Small Might, still an embarrassment for the family though. Clown uncle. Blueberry, charities? Clown uncle, do not worry, I told them to pay equal number of cash. 4 villain quirked, complex mutants and the quirkless. Blueberry, awesome. You're a man of culture, Mr. Compress. Clown uncle, too bad that Legion doesn't understand Emmy. Minamiruko, Izuku said recently that you are an art piece. Clown uncle, OH. Small Might. Minamiruko, just a modern art piece. Clown uncle, okay now that's uncalled for young Midoriya, compare me to something actually valuable and aesthetically pleasing PLS. Small Might, don't call me young Midoriya you damn clown. Clown uncle, then don't disrespect me in public like that or I'll tell. Your MOM. Blueberry, seeing 2 of 3 most wanted people in the country act like that with each other is probably the weirdest thing ever. Insomniac, this entire chat is like 50% composed of supervillains at this point and they all act like that, just to a different degree. Blueberry, fair. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Chimera, Necromancer, Slice and Mummy all managed to escape the PLF camps rather easily. They were lightly guarded. In fact, they weren't guarded at all. PLF was either dissolving or there was some sort of fourth-dimensional plan in all of that. Their crew had a well-hidden hideout prepared in case something went really, horribly wrong. It was a safe house under some ruined mansion in the middle of the woods, whose actual ownership has been something so complicated that nobody understood it anymore. They had food, water, and some cash hidden there, plus a spare copy of their villain uniforms. Enough to spend a week or 2 in hiding, and probably return to business. If there is a business to return to, now that 9 is gone. They spent 4 days there when one of the cameras outside spotted an approaching car. It was late evening, so they didn't see who was inside. They quickly set up an ambush. No one should have any business coming here at that hour. The car stops before they leap at it. They can barely believe who emerges from it. 9. Slice shouts in shock. This is almost certainly some form of illusion quirk. This is the only explanation. 9 calls in a thunder from the sky, which splits the nearby tree. There are no more questions about whether he is there. 9. Sorry for not getting here faster. He says when they get closer. They start to believe. I was in the prison hospital during the attack. One of the last to get warped away before the explosion. They talk for a long time. In the end they decide that it's probably time to change their business associates for some better ones. None of them have particularly pleasant memories about working with the PLF. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Legion is actually positively surprised when the news reaches him through the exchange. 9 and his team were alive and wanted to work as League of Villains associates. Great. Honestly speaking, he kind of felt bad for them. They were all victims like love members. Even if Izuku doesn't exactly like the direction in which this fact pushed them. He describes the League policies to them and gives them a series of jobs to do. 4 PLF. Bases are raided by the heroes, the 9 and his group provided coordinates, who incarcerate 7-2 escaped A-rank villains. Then he sends them on a raiding spree, targeting notable Detonarat installations. In a non-lethal way. He has them evacuate the personnel before blowing everything up. The insurance probably covers that, but he is certain that Detonarat will have to pay more for it. Now, besides, Gremlin is happy and Izuku is willing to blow up several factories and office buildings to make her smile. 9 is back on the supervillain list after his first attack. Izuku wishes him best of luck. In the so-called meantime, the League just got another assault party. Although he doesn't invite them to join in directly, they are just a subsidiary. His trust in people goes only so far. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. 7 days after her escape from Tartarus, Split finally decides to make contact. She sneaks into an abandoned building in question. She finds a small box with a code lock stuffed into some hard-to-find place. Just as Toshi said in his message. She knows the code. When she enters it, the box opens. Inside is a phone, with exactly one number on its contact list. She clicks on it and braces for the worst. The building doesn't explode on her. Instead, the black mist suddenly envelops the other end of the room. She recognizes the yellow eyes in the mist. Kurogiri, the Warpgate villain of the League of Villains. Toshi steps out of the mist, wearing a combat vest and some sort of black mask that covers everything under his eyes. He has a gun, like an actual assault rifle, although she doesn't recognize the model, in his hands. Split, he says. The mask hides his expression from her. It's great to see you alive. He can actually speak. Did he lie to her in the past, or did someone bring his tongue back? Maybe it's the mask. And now, the greatest test of trust. Speaking back to him. Willingly letting a villain, an murderer of dozens of people at this point, be in a position to take control over her body. Then again, it's Toshi. Everything around changed, and he did, but how much? Likewise, he doesn't take control. Instead, he comes closer and hugs her. She hugs him back. I heard what happened. Split says a minute later, still eyeing Hitoshi curiously. Their brief hug ended already. It's time for business. She didn't know that such a thing as regrowing a tongue was possible. Sure, there were wonderful quirks out there, but your family, I mean. Hitoshi looks conflicted by this being mentioned. Not ashamed, not happy, just conflicted. She finds it weird. Sorry, he says finally. After you went to Tartarus, I snapped. She can't see it, but she is certain that he is gritting his teeth. I found someone else to believe my words. They helped me, but they weren't heroes. I don't think I could believe in heroes after what happened to you. I killed people. Split replies. She knows what his answer will be. But after more than 2 years of Tartarus, she just wants to hear it from him. Because some asshole injected you with trigger and had your quirk go out of control. Hitoshi says the words she hoped to hear. And because some asshole judge didn't bother to understand what your quirk is about. Now, the real question. How to move over to the real interesting question. Not like hearing that he is still in her corner, like, probably, one of the very few people out there, wasn't interesting. Although it was perhaps more important than interesting, at least for her mental well-being. Did they? She tries to say, but he interrupts. No, Hitoshi shakes his head. Legion tried to persuade me not to kill them. Offered to expose what they did to me in public, to make people out there lynch them for me. But after you were arrested and I spent weeks thinking that my only hope to get out of that hell was taken away, I think I just wanted them dead. He is silent for a few seconds while she is swallowing his words. He obliged, and gave me my tongue back. She failed him so much. Sure, she was merely a provisional license hero from a small-time school, but she was the only person who believed a kid claiming that his entire family was composed of monsters that cut their tongue out and pretty much kept them in a cage, while monitoring their internet usage, although not as successfully as they hoped for. When your crime is outrageous enough, people stop believing that it's possible. Odd. But that's how mankind works, Split thinks. Join the League, Split. Hitoshi adds after a few more seconds, while she is still trying to figure out how to unpack his words. Are you serious? She retorts. He surprised her. Sure, she was a runaway, but she was still a former hero trainee. He can't just. They were a league of villains, after all. And if what she briefly Googled was any indication, it was considered an SSS rank threat villain group. Yes. Hitoshi replies promptly. You'll like it. Almost every member has stories like mine. And thus far we're only killing other villains and corrupted heroes. We killed Eclipse and Purity, can you believe that? Plus several more supervillains that emerged after you were arrested. And we're going to go after Redestro now, most likely. She didn't get to Google that out. But someone did have to take those two psychos out, and it would certainly explain why the League was an SSS-ranked group despite literally not existing. 2 years ago. Didn't they start like 7 months ago? Is she willing to believe him? They were kind of friends, mostly through the internet, though. They met once or twice when she started to investigate his family for abuse, right before the tongue happened, once. And if she remembers the results of her brief visit on the internet a few days ago, he only killed his family, and a lot of villains. Then again, what alternative does she have? Return to a prison? Not a nice prospect after 2 years of high-security prison time. She could try to become a vigilante, but it's not like she has any contacts with those. How long can she hope to stay active like that? No money. She was almost caught on her way here once, because she had to steal cash to buy tickets or hitchhike her way through the country, and people were extremely wary of hitchhikers after the mass breakout. No support items. No contacts. No hideouts. I don't think I have many alternatives at this point. She sighs. You probably don't know where to find some vigilantes for me to join, right? Actually, the Vigilante Alliance might be kinda working for my boss now, he says, and she stares at him in shock. Shit, forget I mentioned that. It's supposed to be a secret. He looks genuine in his slip. Let's just say that there are many options on the table, but I would like you to be with us. He simultaneously changed a lot and didn't change at all. Confusing. Her lack of imaginable alternatives makes her nod and add a vocal agreement to at least see for herself what the League of Villains is about. She can only hope that she'll not overhear anything that will make them not want to let her go after that. If, of course, letting her go is even an option. She looks forward to not being homeless for a while, that's for sure. Chapter end notes. Split was eventually going to play a much bigger role in this fic, but the ending happened a bit earlier than I anticipated. Still, one more cool OC to my collection. Things like that happen. And also mysterious Maruko ship is taking off. Hate me all you want, but this is what peak Maruko ship looks like. And can you imagine their children? I'm absolutely terrified of the concept but also intrigued. https://archivo4on.org/works/386039794/chapters/965022134. Exiting the stage. My newest and second villain, Izuku, fic. Give it a read, tongue sticking out, it's ties that bind, but things went very bad. https://archivo4on.org/works/3841853/chapters/960120888. To see stars, my second newest and first fantasy, Izuku, fic. Comedy, mostly. Give it a read, winking and laughing. Chapter summary. Before the storm. In my defense, you should have expected that at this point. Chapter notes. See the end of the chapter 4. Notes. The League of Villains headquarters look like some weird boarding house. Just with less windows and more style. Or at least that's the first thing that comes to Split's mind when she exits the warp gate. She is in the middle of the living room. There is a bar, and a lot of couches, tables and TVs scattered throughout it. She sees some gaunt man and a girl with wolf ears playing some newest Mortal Kombat game. They have their backs towards her, but judging from the movements of her tail, she seems to be very happy. Then she notices a girl with blue and pink hair playing some card game with a small kid with messy black hair, a nervous-looking young man in a black t-shirt with a large white gas mask painted on it, and a giant of a man with a square jaw. The last group to come to her attention is a horrifically scarred man playing darts with a lizard mutant, a teenager with pitch-black skin, and a young woman with long black hair. Split's mind does a double take and she realizes that the last two people are Vantablack and Sunset. She saw their faces on the supervillain list. He is the head of some black market / information brokership / hired killers group, and she is the head of the terrorist organization fighting for the rights of the quirkless. And Eclipse's daughter, apparently. They are playing darts. 2 S ranks are doing something like that. And she just arrived with 2 more S ranks in tow. 4 supervillains in a single room is a bit unheard of. She is starting to regret certain decisions. The heck? Hitoshi asks, eyeing the room curiously. What happened to the clown uncle? The murder uncle, the kick-ass aunt and the boss? Does she even want to know who he is? Referring to. Kurogiri warped Mr. Compress out while you were away because of some levelers stuff. The two-colored girl replies. I think he is supposed to return the National Diet building today and is probably preparing some special effects for that. Stain and Maruko are having another sparring session in the training room and legions with Gremlin in her lab. Doing, something. The girl finishes, eyeing Split curiously. Lizardman throws a dart in the background and shouts triumphantly that he just won another round. Vantablack and Sunset appear angry. The scarred man is fuming. No, literally, she sees black smoke rising from the edges of what seems to be skin transplants. Split is busy processing what she just heard. She is only faintly familiar with who Stain is. She saw the moniker of a hero killer and that he was apparently a serial killer targeting heroes. Worrying. Then again, how many heroes could a single villain like that kill? 5 or 6. Maruko being a villain is still a shock, hearing about it being caused by her launching a coup against discrimination of complex mutants and villain quirks bearers was kinda reassuring. Actually, and Mr. Compress, why does this place feel so casual? That girl just mentioned returning the National Diet building like it was nothing. Well, guess we're going to wait then. Hitoshi replies, I have a potential new recruit, but I'm not going to the Gremlin lab. I'm not suicidal. She hears some chuckles in the room. You want something to drink or eat? He asks her and points towards the bar. Kurogiri gravitated there in the meantime and is floating behind the bar. Just a little bit intimidating. 2 SSS ranks, 3 SS ranks, 4 S ranks, in a single building, save for 1 SSS rank, who is apparently out of the building for the moment. She is only a tiny bit intimidated. Okay, maybe a lot. I'll take whatever you have. She is thirsty, hungry, and probably wants to have a nice, long nap. Asterisk. She quickly discovers that everyone in the room she didn't recognize as supervillains is an A rank villain, save for the young man with a gas mask t-shirt, who has joined recently and was apparently a former SS rank. Can you even be a former supervillain? Scarred Man was also Endeavor's son. The Lizard Man was a veteran assassin for hire, the man playing video games with the Wolf Girl kills with a touch and has 100 plus victims, if you counted both kills and permanent maiming, under his belt, and Stain has at this point killed about 60 heroes. Her status changed from tiny bit intimidated to extremely intimidated. Asterisk. Legion returns from the Gremlin's lab missing 1 precious hour of his life and almost his brows. Overhaul is an ever-useful quirk and he literally loves it at this point, despite having exactly opposite feelings about his original user. He staggers into the living room, about to loudly complain about the unfairness of his life, when he discovers an unfamiliar face in the crowd. A young woman, with multicolored hair, wearing a hoodie. She is standing right next to Toshi near the bar. They are talking about something and he appears genuinely happy, which is slightly unnatural when he isn't killing people, drinking something from a cup. Hey, boss. Hitoshi sees him too and waves towards him. Izuku is slightly angry. If he knew they were going to have a guest, he would wear something else. Himiko claims that his current T-shirt, the one with the trousers written on it, is dumb, and he isn't exactly sure if he agrees with her, but he still wears it only in the company of friends. Oh, well, it was probably Hitoshi's idea of a joke. And who might that be? He says while approaching them. He is trying to ignore the dot group who is about to start fighting for real. At least the quirks are forbidden outside of the training room, so minimal damage, and he can resurrect them, so whatever floats their boat. He is also ignoring the card-playing circle, because Rabbit spent too much time with Mr. Compress when Izuku wasn't looking, and he was now absolutely deadly with cards. Somehow, he treats the preciousness area the same way. Tenko and Suto have their own little heaven over there, and none of the villains in the vicinity feels villainous enough to intrude upon it. Multicolored hair. Toshi looking like he is happy. Izuku's brain catches up. Oh, Split, right. Izuku asks. The woman is slightly startled by him immediately. Recognizing her. Toshi told me about you. Looks like you managed to escape Tartarus. Safely. Oh, yes. She says with a nod, clearly intimidated. Was Stain here before Izuku popped up? That would explain it. I managed to contact her through the internet. Hitoshi takes over. I hope to make her join us, since, well, you know, not sure where to go and all that. She mentioned going vigilante. But I still have hopes. Knuckle Duster will certainly be overjoyed to have some new recruits, especially those already trained to become heroes. Izuku replies. The Vanguard might use some bulking up, though, so I'm going to do my best to have you stay with us, Miss Split. She seems to have some mixed feelings about this. Also, I just wanted to say that you have one of the coolest quirks I ever heard about. Is it true that? Remain motionless. Hitoshi uses his quirk on him, and Izuku obediently freezes. With vacant eyes, Mind's crew turns his head towards only a slightly spooked Split. He gets very talkative when quirks are involved. The last time he was allowed to keep talking, his 18-year-old girlfriend discovered that she was actually a complex mutant all along. What I just did I've done for the sanity of us all. Izuku focuses on trying to make his neck bend a bit. After a scarce few seconds, the flesh starts obeying him. Something like 2 seconds later, he manages to shatter Tosh's quirk. Entirely. Small success, since if this was combat, he would have given Toshi enough time to fire at him. You know, that's just goddamn cheating. Mind's crew seems as angry as he is disappointed. First Stain shakes my quirk off, then Eclipse, then Gigantomachia no-sells it for 50 days. Straight and now this. Is there someone notable on whom my quirk still works? Speaking about Stain, where exactly is my second uncle? Izuku decides to ask, instead of continuing with that subject, if only to confirm his suspicion that he was here recently and spooked Split. Well, I wonder about that myself. Hitoshi replies with a clearly audible sneer. Are you sure that they are only trying to murder each other in there, rather than, dunno, intersperse their violence with sex? If it was anyone other than Miruko, I'd laugh at the idea of Stain entering a relationship. Izuku replies honestly. But she is insanely tough and has that I'll live with no regrets policy to the point where she almost overthrew the unjust government in order to save people from discrimination and splattered Hawk's brain on the floor for his murder of a hero that Stain personally respected as a true hero. He ignores Split's shock at the mention of Miruko killing Hawks, and considering the fact that he is now an ideal punching bag due to his quirk, I think I just don't want to know what they are doing in there. Fair. Mind's crew replies. Can you imagine what their children would look and act like? Izuku can't help but shudder at the thought. If he knew anything about how complex mutants worked, then there was a fair chance that being half-rabbit made Miruko prone to having multiple children, 2 to 3, not anything crazy. He was probably going to have nightmares about an army of rabbit people with katanas, intense bloodlust and enough leg strength to pull his head cleanly off by gripping it with their thighs and, well, pulling. He isn't touching that with a 50-feet pole, especially as they could probably jump for 50 feet and then dropkick him into a face with enough strength to incapacitate him. Miruko was dangerous enough with bare hands and legs. How much worse would that get with an expertise in blades added to the mix? And, oh god, what if they inherit his quirk? No, wait, that couldn't happen. There was no thematic similarity between rabbits and blood quirks. The world was saved from the plague of blatantly overpowered, brave to the point of insanity and blood-drinking rabbit people. So, what's your quirk? Rabbit materializes out of nowhere. 1 second he is playing cards with his friends and the former mastermind. They are still thinking about his new villain. Name, Izuku hopes he will inherit Mustard's name, and in the next one he is standing right next to Izuku, looking at Split and asking the most important question. Izuku is filled with brotherly pride, but he still pulls that ace card from Rabbit's sleeve and smacks his head with it lightly. Asa has enough common human decency to look ashamed by being caught cheating. Legion is going to have a serious talk with Mr. Compress about what exactly he is teaching his brother. Of course. Mind's crew sighs. He is Legion's younger brother. He says to Split. Honestly, do you have any distinct differences in personality? He turns towards the Midoriyas, besides Asa being more anxious. My room is filled with All Might's merch, while his with Miruko's. Izuku replies. The Latter was theoretically banned now, so they couldn't just buy or sell it. Then again, there was enough of a black market for people who were now trying to get rid of it, or who were urgently trying to buy it, for Legion to get enough stuff to fill Ace's room with. Not the lewd stuff, of course. The serious stuff. Izuku is a responsible older brother. And he really hopes that All for One's children are vulnerable to getting influenced by nearby hero, merged through some form of heroic osmosis. If Izuku got influenced by All Might enough to start cleaning the country and save his life, then maybe Rabbit will pick up some additional confidence from Maruko. Just not too much. That would be scary. That's not exactly a personality difference, now, isn't? Ugh. Mine's crew size. Forget I asked. Split, do you want to answer? The former hero, well, almost a hero, seems to be willing to. Izuku didn't miss the surprised flinch on her face when Izuku mentioned All Might's merch. He feels like he established himself as a villain enough to not have to hide it from people. He has enough secrets already. And that's really a minor one. I can, split myself into several copies of myself, each inheriting a strengthened version of some major physical ability of mine. Split answers promptly. Major physical ability as in strength, agility, or endurance. The copies can't leave a 2-kilometer distance from me. Also, we are kind of forming a hive mind when I split. That's, Izuku says, really awesome. Alongside Rabbit. Mine's crew size with enough physical pain to make him sound like they were torturing him, rather than asking his friend about her quirk. Are you sure that they are brothers rather than, I dunno, quirk clones? He hears Mastermind asking toxicity in their little card circle. Oh yes, certainly mustard. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Split ends up staying, although only temporarily. For now, she seems significantly less spooked, and Izuku hopes that she stays because her quirk is awesome and she was a proper hero. Not a pro one, but she actually tried to help Hitoshi, and that gives her a large plus in Izuku's book. Besides, maybe she'll straighten him out a bit. Mind Screw's clear enjoyment of killing people does slightly worry Izuku. Not like he is free of that, but in his case it depends on the people in question. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Small Might, you are grounded. Clown Uncle, what? Small Might, stop teaching my brother how to cheat in card games. Clown Uncle, I only taught him some magic tricks. Small Might, like, how to hide cards in your sleeve without anyone noticing. Clown Uncle, yes, but that was supposed to be a magic trick, not something to be used like that, I swear. Small Might, I. Small Might, doubt. Small Might, that. Clown Uncle, I swear on my sister's good name. Small Might, you don't have a sister. Clown Uncle, I actually have one, but she was in Tartarus under false name as an A rank. Crying face. Clown Uncle, she is currently getting used to the fact that I'm now an SSS rank in the Leveler's hideout. Small Might, oh no. Small Might, more clowns. Clown Uncle, yes. Small Might, you aren't even pretending anymore. Small Might, when am I going to meet Ms. Compress? Clown Uncle, eventually, or maybe never. Small Might, then I don't believe in her existence, and this is clearly a ploy. Clown Uncle, she exists, I swear on my mom's good name. Small Might, was she locked in Tartarus under a false name too? Clown Uncle, maybe. Small Might, that's extremely convincing. Clown Uncle, on a side note. Clown Uncle, so, can I include a wonderful new recruit of the Levelers in our general chat? Great new potential addition to the League of Villains. Small Might, no. Clown Uncle, why though? Small Might, because I'm 99,999% sure this isn't about Ms. Compress. Small Might, and I'm not letting you invite my mom to my private chat room for friends and co-workers. Clown Uncle, I know you want her there. Small Might, stop being the embarrassing type of an uncle, dammit. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Izuku is lying in his bed in the League's headquarters, staring at the ceiling, although it's a bit too dark for him to see it. He is wearing his favorite All Might pajama, which is, well, his second favorite nightwear in general. His All Might honesty is for when he sleeps at home. Since Ari likes to sneak into his bed in identical outfit, and it just fits so well. He is just so incredibly confused about his life right now. He set himself on a long journey to become the symbol of evil, the emperor of the underground, the arch-villain. Redestro was still there, but with Overhaul out of the picture, and the Paranormal Liberation Front being in tatters, He was in a situation where he kinda didn't know what to do. As if, did he do it or not? He was aware that there was going to be no achievement. Gained announcement when he gets a large enough percentage of villains under his thumb. Life didn't work like that. And it's not like he could get crowned by someone. Was it? Or was there supposed to be something he had to do before making it official? Sure, he could announce that he is now the symbol of evil in the media, but that would feel kinda pretentious. What if unlikely? But Nedzu arrested him a week later. Wouldn't that just make him a laughingstock? Zuku, what are you thinking about? He hears. He looks down to his right side. It's dark in the room, but he still sees the outline of Himiko's head, with her eyes on him. I can see in the dark pretty well. You are making a weird face. He can't even brood without being cornered by someone, doesn't he? Just not sure what to do now, I guess. He replies. I mean, I wanted to become a symbol of evil and help clean this country from the chaos. But now CRC is down, QLF is scattered. Garaki is dead, House of Red is down for the count, and it's just the Meta Liberation Army in Hokkaido and the beasts crowd out there. I feel like I won, but I'm not sure what to feel about it. Ah yes, Eternal Zuku. Himiko replies with a sigh. You overthinking things into full-blown rambles out of nowhere is like 1/3 of the charm. MHMM. He hears from his left side, this time. Of course they weren't quiet enough. Then again, the light was off for only a short while. Did Gremlin fall asleep already? She. Sounds like someone that was just woken up, that's for sure. Overthinking helps in baby making. Hearing the last two words in these circumstances is really nasty, especially for a young man. Or was he still a late teenager, like Izuku? He did, technically, have 2 girls in his bed. And they were, technically, although not legally, his wives. Not like it meant anything other than sharing surnames and emotionally supporting each other closer than League's average. Why was his life such a mess? Should he move out of the League headquarters? But he can't really expect to avoid staying in one building with the people responsible for making his life a mess, especially as that's just himself. And probably his dad. So what do you think I'm supposed to do now? Izuku asks. The same thing we used to do until now. Himiko replies. Izuku feels some shaking to the left of him. That's probably my nodding. She probably forgot that it's dark. That or she was wearing some designer baby eye contacts with a night vision option. Izuku wouldn't be surprised at this point. He could activate his night vision quirk, but frankly speaking, he is just so tired of interacting with people that he feels nice only having to hear them. He is and will always be kinda introvertish, and he isn't budging on that. Mai and Himiko are extroverts. Extreme. This sometimes hurts. A bit. Like what? Izuku replies. He can only hope that this is leading somewhere. He doesn't want to be the only one who is offering support in this relationship. He has a faint feeling that relationships are best when they are a bit more equal with things like that. Gather power, followers, money, and so on. Mai replies instead of Himiko. I mean, that's what villains do, right? While heroes are trying to stop them or take those away from them. This answer is almost oddly sane. I guess. Izuku says after a few seconds of silence. I'm just not sure what to feel about that. I mean, if Overhaul doesn't just randomly pop up from nowhere, I'll end up having to fight the UA heroes, and this just genuinely feels kinda awkward. I mean, I'll be trying to do that non-lethally, but even without Tartarus, we might be losing people permanently, and that's. He must have missed some silent agreement between them, because they both kissed his cheeks at once. He goes silent, and probably quite red. Zuku. Himiko says. You are the cutest, kindest, and most adorable person in the world. You amassed enough firepower to challenge the government, but you are still afraid that your friends will get hurt by someone if you use it. Seriously, don't you ever change, you silly cinnamon roll. Yep. This time it's Mai. You are also super smart. You always have time for me and my babies, know a lot about quirks, and, well, I think my parents like you. They never told me to kill you or test my babies on you, and they go silent when I'm with you. So you are obviously a great person, and don't you ever change. Okay, that was disturbing. She did mention the parents a bit earlier, and Izuku is still trying to figure out how to send her to therapy over this. Hearing that they never told me to kill you. That implies them telling her to kill other people did reinforce his opinion that she needs it. Besides, what's the point of having hired hound dog, who basically went there I'll do it? Because it might mean less people dying further down the line, but I might tell everything to heroes once I get the amnesty. If you don't use him, I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that. Himiko adds after a few seconds of deafening silence, obviously leaving the issue to Izuku and his supreme experience in patching people's minds up. This, unfortunately, isn't something that emotional support can help with. Seriously, just go to sleep. I know you don't need a lot of it, but it's unhealthy to torment yourself like that. Think about what to do during the day, with Rabbit and the others to advise you. Besides, if UA catches someone, you can always figure out how to break us out if it's not from Tartarus, right? He agrees. They hug him closer and soon their breaths grow steady. Izuku spends just a few more minutes thinking about how to make the League more powerful during the remaining 20-something days of the ceasefire with the UA, and then finally falls asleep. He might have a lot of issues with their relationship, but going to sleep like that is pretty comfortable. Asterisk. The city is a ruined mess. The damages are disastrous. He sees dead people everywhere. Dead, and not just dead. Some of them are mangled beyond recognition. Some are too damaged to even tell that they are there, reduced to blood smears. Some are merged with the buildings, hanging off the surviving concrete walls like some grotesque sculptures. Work of a true sadist. Of a man truly unhinged. Of a man of truly disastrous power and insane mind. Of a single man who faced 1,000 veteran fighters and emerged unscathed. Of the closest thing to a god this world has now. He raises up from the ground. His legs are missing, but this is of limited importance to him. Now, Giton is severed in half and seems to have bled out. Slidden Go is simply gone, merely a lone head lying on the ground. I see that the reports about your death were slightly exaggerated. Redestro, the Grand Commander of the Meta Liberation Army, says, ignoring the metallic taste of blood in his mouth. I died once already. Overhaul replies. He doesn't resemble his wanted poster at all. His hair is black. He is way taller, approaching all for one in his prime, although the build remained the same. He no longer carries a gas mask. It gets easier the second time. Redestro laughs. Against himself, he laughs. What happened to you? Redestro asks. He just witnessed the most powerful meta ability in his life. Power approaching if not surpassing all for one. He is in genuine awe. I died. Again. Overhaul replies. But I already had a third copy of myself prepared. When I died, it was installed into my imperfect magnum opus. This body created through a combination of scientific knowledge of myself and late Dr. Garaki. Unfortunately, it happened before the fine-tuning was fully done. This is less than 25% of what the full power would be. But I had to be there to reorganize what's left of the paranormal liberation front, so that we'll have to do 1/4. Overhaul annihilated Redestro, his strongest lieutenants and the core of the Meta Liberation Army with 1/4 of what he could have. You are truly liberated, aren't you? Redestro asks. Overhaul looks at him strangely. No longer bound by common sense, by sanity, by society, by law. Just you, your vision, your meta ability, and your genius. That's one way of describing it. Overhaul replies shortly. I came to bargain. Redestro doesn't give him time for that. He, despite his missing legs and despite bleeding out slowly, bows down. Me and the 200,000 warriors of the Meta Liberation Army will serve you. Now, Redestro says, the true manifestation of the will of Destro. He might disagree with Overhaul's dream of a quirkless world, but he recognizes the will behind, the desire to bend the world according to it, and the power to do it. Redestro's own power pales in front of Overhaul's. He will serve. There is just no other option. Well, that saves us a lot of time. Overhaul replies. Then he resets everything. Chapter end notes. Cheers to that one person who figured out the plot twist because, and I practically quote, Overhaul is like a cockroach and they survive nuclear blasts, so he is most certainly alive. You are my unironic hero, NGL. I have committed a comedic one-shot, except it's a 3-shot. At least check it out. Here. I have also committed exiting the stage, which is basically ties that bind, second. installment of the Curious Cases series. Seriously, check it out. Except Butterfly Effect. Was a bitch and the world was pushed from adorableness and fluffiness into Grimdile. Check it out. Here. This will be all for today. Next part coming soon, so please like and subscribe to get informed as soon as next part drops.